Chapter 10:14. As the eldest Madame Chan Yin Jun was trying her best to cover up all flaws at the huge teleportation array within the ardent fire city, Wang, a distorted black hole-like maelstrom appeared within the teleportation array. Two figures walked out from within. They were both wearing black robes with golden edges. They were looking in the direction of the marquisdom. Who would have thought that this lineage of marquis ardent fire would actually produce a child who is a void god at birth? How rare. Before this, our Yingshan clan has only produced two such geniuses, right? Both of them broke through to the Unity realm very quickly. One of them reached the Primal Chaos realm and opened the Nine-Dragon Marquisdom. The other might be slightly weaker, but he has crossed through the God Yuan Palace 6th level. These two elders that came from the Yingshan clan chatted with a smile. They were relatively envious, because having such a formidable birth represented a powerful bloodline. The stronger the bloodline, the easier it would be to cultivate. Those with weaker bloodlines would feel like looking at flowers in a fog when they looked at their bloodline. It was blurry. And those with dense and powerful bloodlines would have their bloodlines clearly visible. The difficulty of cultivation would be 100 to 1,000 times easier. South, the two of them directly teleported over. The ardent fire city was too big, and flying was too slow. The two elders from the ancestral family were sent over, and one of them could teleport. Very soon, the two of them arrived at the ardent fire marquisdom. Two elders from the ancestral family, please come over. A voice sounded by their ears. The array suppressing the two elders from the ardent fire marquisdom was temporarily dispelled. Grandpa Marquis. The two elders from the ancestral family immediately teleported over. It was too easy to recognize. The maelstrom light pillar of the world energy was still conspicuous. That indistinct golden light could also be discerned. When the two elders from the ancestral family rushed over Marquis Ardent Fire, the elders from the marquisdom, and many other Yingshan clan disciples with relatively high statuses and honored guests were watching from the surrounding. This courtyard was simply too small, and they could not fit everyone even if they descended. Two elders from the ancestral family. Since you have come from afar, please wait a moment. This child will be coming out in a while. The red-robed male Marquis Ardent Fire stood by the side with a smile. Many people had already gathered around, and they were all of high statuses. Those of low statuses did not dare to approach. The first Madame, Chan Yin Jun, was also at the back of the crowd in midair. She saw that the elders and Master Ho were looking at the round red meatball with anticipation. She could not help but grit her teeth. We have to fix the last flaw as well. Buzz. Her face paled slightly before returning to normal. Time seemed to pass very slowly. At this moment, all the higher-ups in the Ardent Fire Marquisdom were looking downwards in anticipation. Rong Xinglan had long regained her rationality. She and her daughter Yingshan Shi were also looking forward. Hua! The round red meatball suddenly split open, revealing a child with red lips and white teeth. The child was only wearing a thin, skin-tight shirt. The aura emitted by this child was shockingly that of a void god. One could see the child who was only wearing a thin, skin-tight shirt. He was barefooted and had red lips and white teeth. He directly leaped in front of Rong Xinglan and knelt down. This child greets mother. Dongbo Shueying kneeled willingly, because he could sense what was happening outside through the void when he was in his mother's stomach. He had seen how his mother and sister fought against Manager Tian, and how his mother wept in despair. He could feel that his mother treated him more important than her life. Their feelings were mutual, and Dongbo Shueying respected this mother of his. As for that father of his in this life, he had been in the stomach for 15 years, yet that father had never come to see him even once. Currently, he did not even know his father, much less talk about feelings. Good. Rong Xinglan excitedly pulled her child up. Seeing the chubby little arm, Rong Xinglan felt her heart melting. Her face was brimming with a smile. That was a joy that came from the bottom of her heart. Haha, this child is really filial. An elder from the ancestral family chuckled in midair. Marquis Ardent Fire also nodded with a smile. The group of higher-ups in the marquisdom began praising him at that moment. They did not find Dongbo Shueying's intelligence strange at all. After all, Even the more ordinary infants from the Ying clan had been in the womb for a few decades when they were born. Hence, their intelligence was extraordinary. Marquis Ardent Fire even announced with a clear laugh. Rong Xinglan, have you given this son of yours a name? Not yet. Rong Xinglan answered. Her status was low, and she was not qualified to choose a name previously. Usually, it would be Ying Shan Lai who did. I've given myself a name. The child in her embrace leaped down. He was not afraid of the many cultivators in the sky. His voice was clear and reverberated in the surroundings. I'm called Snow Eagle. Snow Eagle? Ying Shan Snow Eagle? Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled in the sky. This little fellow is extraordinary. He knows how to give himself a name the moment he was born. His talent is extraordinary. Naturally, he is different from ordinary people. The tall and thin ancestral family elder praised. Another slightly plump ancestral family elder chuckled as he took out a strange palm-sized golden weapon that looked like a hook. He directly threw it to Dongbua Shuang. Little fellow Ying Shan Snow Eagle. The few of us have come under orders to hand over the Ying Shan Golden Order. The child extended his hand and caught this Ying Shan Golden Order. He felt slightly curious and puzzled. This Ying Shan Golden Order is something only the most important disciples of my Ying Shan clan are qualified to receive. It is personally bestowed by old ancestor. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled. Once you receive this command token, your status in my marquisdom will be equivalent to an elder within the marquisdom. You can even visit the ancestral family and read through the many scriptures there. The ancestral family will also send over many treasures. The surrounding crowd in Madeira were filled with envy because the marquisdom was too big and the number of cultivators was too exaggerated. They were naturally divided into grades. The members of the marquisdom were divided into 6 classes. Most of the servants were practically at the lowest 6th class. Some of the madams who had never given birth before were also at the lowest 6th class. For instance, Rong Xinglan had given birth to a child before, and Ying Shan Shi was a direct descendant. The two of them were at the 5th class. The 5th class was still very low. After all, they could be ranked at the 5th class just by being the leader of a servant. Even though the two of them had a higher status than the servants, they did not have the authority and could not control the servants. That was why that female servant disdained them. The 4th class meant that the servants had a very high status. Like Manager Tion, he was considered at the 4th class. Members of the marquisdom from the 4th class to the 6th class were the lower 3 classes. The 3rd class to the 1st class were the upper 3 classes. Only those in the upper 3 classes were qualified to represent the Ardent Fire marquisdom. The disciples of the Ardent Fire marquisdom. Only those in the upper 3 classes were qualified to call themselves aristocratic clan disciples when they walked outside. For instance, Ying Shan Shi was just a true god. When she walked outside, she was just an ordinary commoner and was not qualified to call herself an aristocratic clan disciple. After all, the aristocratic clan had existed for many years, and their bloodlines were numerous. If one was not outstanding enough, he would naturally not represent the aristocratic clan. Aristocratic clan disciples had many special privileges too. These privileges were set by the laws of the Southern Cloud Nation. Ying Shan Golden Order? Equivalent to an elder? Furthermore, there are many special privileges in the ancestral family. Many people were filled with envy. The eldest Madame Chan Yu Yinjin felt complicated. She was also an aristocratic clan disciple, and was at the God Yuan Palace 4th level. Furthermore, she was married to Ying Shan Lai Hu, and was considered a part of the Ying Shan clan. Only after operating for many years did she rise to the 2nd class. She was still 1 class away from this newborn child. Even though it was just a step, this step was huge, because in the entire marquisdom, other than Grandpa Marquis, there were only a total of 15 elders. In other words, there were only these 15 elders who had the same status as this child. Rong Xinglan, you have contributed greatly, and will be promoted to the 2nd class in the marquisdom. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled. A mother's status would depend on her son's status. This was also the rule of the marquisdom. Many thanks, Grandpa Marquis. Rong Xinglan was incomparably excited. In the blink of an eye, She had reached the sky in a single step? In the future, she would have groups of servants, and a large group of guards and guests when she went out? A hunchbacked elder from the marquisdom said, "Rong Xinglan, how long have you been pregnant for?" "I have been pregnant for 15 years. Rong Xinglan immediately answered. The gestation period of every baby would be recorded. For a proud child like Dongbo Shuiying, it was even more so. 15 years? Marquis Ardent Fire was startled. Why is it so short? The two elders from the ancestral family felt puzzled too. It is too short. Just 15 years? Almost all the experts from the marquisdom felt startled, because the more outstanding the child was, the longer he would stay in the womb. This was practically common knowledge. If Dongbo Shuiying stayed in the womb for 300 to 400 years, they would not be surprised. Instead, they were startled that he only stayed in the womb for 15 years. "Originally, I wouldn't have come out so quickly," a clear voice sounded. At that moment, the gazes of all the higher-ups landed on the body of Dongbo Shuiying. Looking at this barefooted child with rosy lips and white teeth, this child was slightly angered. "I was enjoying myself comfortably in my mother's womb when I heard someone called Manager Tion forcefully pouring a poisonous medicinal liquid into my mother's mouth. My mother could not resist against it even with her life on the line. I could sense everything happening outside and knew that something was amiss. That was why I immediately cut off my connection with the womb, forcing me to be born prematurely. If you don't believe me, you can check for yourself." "What? Forced to be born prematurely? Poisonous liquid?" Everyone present was greatly startled. Marquis Ardent Fire's expression turned ashen. There were even elders who reversed time to investigate. Even though they could not see the scene of Manager Tion being forced by the time-space interference, it was precisely because of this interference that made things abnormal. Furthermore, the reversal of time allowed them to ascertain that Dongbo Shuiying had only been pregnant for 15 years. Indeed, it has only been 15 years. To be able to nurture such a talent in 15 years, yet he was forced to be born in advance. If he was nurtured normally for hundreds or thousands of years, his bloodline would probably be much denser, and he would be at the Unity Realm at birth. The hearts of everyone present trembled, and there were even quite a few of them who were gritting their teeth. He was born at the Unity Realm? In the entire Southern Cloud Nation, those who were born at the Unity Realm could be counted with one's fingers. All of them were protected and nurtured with all their might, and all of them could easily reach the Primal Chaos Realm. All of them were extraordinary, and there were as many as 2 conferred kings. "How dare you?" The tall and thin elder from the ancestral family furiously roared. "My Yingshan clan has such a proud son of heaven, yet he was forced to give birth in just 15 years. Otherwise, little fellow Yingshan Snow Eagle's future would be much brighter." Marquis Ardent Fire, there is actually someone in your marquisdom who dares to violate the rules of my Yingshan clan. Marquis Ardent Fire was similarly furious. "Where is Yingshan Lai Hu? Where is this father?" Marquis Ardent Fire was furious. He suddenly swept his gaze across the place, yet he could not see his son at all. He should still be in the Misty Cloud restaurant," an old man at the side said in a low voice. Yingshan Lai Hu was weak, and he spent his time in places of pleasure. The true elites and higher-ups within the clan disdained to interact with him. Naturally, none would specially transmit a message to him. The child had already been born, yet the father was still enjoying himself in a place of pleasure. That was indeed a joke, but there were already 340 children, and Yingshan Lai Hu did not care about it at all. "Investigate for me, investigate, find out who exactly did it. Also capture that fool Yingshan Lai Hu back for me." The voice of Marquis Ardent Fire reverberated in the sky. Nobody dared to make a sound. Chan Yinzhen felt her heart trembling. Chapter 10:15. The Misty Cloud Pavilion was the biggest money-squandering establishment in the entire Ardent Fire City. Many aristocratic clan disciples and cultivators loved coming here. As long as one had enough cosmos crystals, the Misty Cloud Pavilion would help them find even rarer treasures. On a sealed battle platform, 2 true god rulers were currently fighting. Their combat strength was great, and they could fight against void gods. And around the battle platform, there were many aristocratic clan disciples and powerful cultivators scattered around. Almost all of them brought along their servants and beautiful attendants. Even those powerful cultivators who came alone would have one or two beauties from the Misty Cloud Pavilion pouring wine and serving them. Very soon the battle ended. One won, and the other's body eventually crumbled and could no longer condense again. True gods could only be considered ordinary. Even Ying Shiyu, who had the bloodline of an aristocratic clan, could only be considered a commoner because she was just a true god. Much less those with worse backgrounds. They could only do the lowest of jobs. If they were lucky, they could live peacefully. If they were unlucky, they might offend a big character and lose their lives. Hence, those who were truly ambitious would do their best to become an expert. On the other hand, stepping onto the life and death arena was a path that was extremely risky, but also extremely rewarding. In every battle, one side would definitely die, while the surviving side would earn a large number of chaos gems. With resources, one's cultivation would naturally be much faster. Truly trash. Wasting so much of my effort. He is completely useless. Ying Lihu fiercely threw the cup in his hand. He gritted his teeth in anger. Prince Lihu, calm down. In a while, I'll help you find a good guest. He will definitely not be as useless as this trash. A beauty who was feeding him wine softly said. Fu you said this the previous time. Do you think I dare to believe you this time? Ying Lihu turned around. He lifted the chin of this beauty with his finger. Almost all the girls who came to serve in the Misty Cloud Pavilion had cultivated some bewitching techniques. Even powerful cultivators could not help but immerse themselves in this land of warmth. It was truly an enjoyment. Prince Lihu, rest assured. Fu will find him first. After finding him, you can go and have a look. Fu is really sad that you don't believe Fu at all. As Ying Lihu was flirting with the beauty, a plump male suddenly came walking on the cloud path. This plump male laughed heartily from afar. Ha, Prince Ying Lihu, congratulations. Congratulations? Ying Lihu was startled. He felt overwhelmed by the favor. Some aristocratic clan disciples and powerful cultivators in the surroundings were slightly startled, because they recognized the person who came was the master of the Misty Cloud Pavilion. He was also a famous character in the entire Ardent Fire City. Chen Yufeng. Chen Yufeng's elder brother, Chen Yue, was one of the two big shots in the entire Ardent Fire City. The other giant was naturally Marquis Ardent Fire. Chen Yue managed the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace that was filled with experts. The number of experts in the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace was much higher than the Ardent Fire Marquisdom, because the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace represented the king. More importantly, the sleeping incarnation of the cosmos god protecting the Ardent Fire City was none other than the old ancestor of the Chunyu clan, Monarch Chunyu. That's right, the Chunyu clan was one of the 4 strongest clans in the Southern Cloud Nation. It was a clan that gave birth to a cosmos god. The imperial family and the 3 great emperor clans were the 4 great clans. Comparatively speaking, the Yingshan clan was weaker by a level. That old mother Yingshan from the Yingshan clan was merely a conferred king. Hence, being the younger brother of Chen Yue, the person who managed the biggest money-squandering establishment in the Ardent Fire City, the Chen Yufeng, had an extremely high status. He could even sit on the same level as those elders from the Ardent Fire Marquisdom. Yingshan Lihu, who was merely a true god ruler, was someone that the master of the Misty Rain Pavilion, Chen Yufeng, did not have to care about. Pavilion Master Chen Yu, are you congratulating me? Yingshan Lihu also stood up. He was slightly overwhelmed by the favor. Don't you know? The plump Chen Yu Pavilion Master widened his eyes in astonishment. Your Ardent Fire Marquisdom is currently having a joyous matter. The wife of you, Yingshan Lihu, Rong Xinglan, has given birth to a child for you, and he is a void god at birth. Yingshan Lihu did not care much when he heard about the birth of a child. But the moment he heard the 3 words void god, he became stunned. A void god was not considered much, but for a newborn to be a void god, that was terrifying. This represented an incomparably frightening and dense bloodline. My child, Ying Shanlai, who widened his eyes. What? The child of Ying Shanlai, who is a void god at birth? Is this real or fake? How could this be possible? The surrounding aristocratic clan disciples broke into an uproar when they heard that. The majority of them were sent over by the aristocratic clan to the Ardent Fire City to handle some businesses. Their statuses within the clan were not considered high, but they were not any weaker than Ying Shanlai who. Now that they heard that trash Ying Shanlai who actually gave birth to a child, who was a void god at birth, they were stunned. My child is a void god at birth? The child of me, Ying Shanlai who? Ying Shanlai who was extremely excited. He once wanted to become an expert like his father, but his talent and comprehension ability were lacking. He was also a child of his father, when his father was weaker, and his bloodline was weak too. He could not cultivate, and could not become a void god. Hence, he had long given up on himself, and relied on his identity to enjoy life. Rong Xinglan. Ying Shanlai who recalled. That was the woman whom he snatched into the marquisdom because of her beauty. Previously, she gave birth to a daughter named Ying Shanxiyu, and he had never seen her before. He wanted to transmit a message to Rong Xinglan, but he discovered that he did not record down the communication imprint of Rong Xinglan. Madam. Ying Shanlai who immediately transmitted a message to his eldest wife, Chan Yuyen Zhen. Xinglan gave birth to a child for me, and he is a void god at birth? Yes, you should hurry back. Grandpa Marquis has become angry. Chan Yuyen Zhen gave a simple reply. At this moment, she was not in the mood to talk too much with her husband. Ha 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 ha. Ying Shanlai who suddenly guffawed. His laughter was clear and resounded across this enormous palace. The son of Ying Shanlai who, is a void god at birth, ha ha. Brother Lai Hu, congratulations. Brother Lai Hu, admirable. Some of his scoundrels, and those who originally looked down on Ying Shanlai, who were congratulating him at this moment. Ying Shanlai who guffawed. He turned around and waved his robe. Go, let's return to the marquisdom. Yes, master. The group of servants behind him responded. Their voices were much louder than before. The servants were all in high spirits. Who? They left the misty cloud pavilion. Ying Shanlai who sat on the carriage with his head held high. The servants were also waiting on the carriage. The mutated beasts pulled the carriage across the sky at high speed towards the marquisdom. Just the time taken to brew a cup of tea. South, a gray-robed old man appeared in midair. Clearly, he was currently teleporting over. The moment he saw Ying Shanlai Hu, he shouted. Ying Shanlai Hu, Grandpa Marquis has asked you to hurry and meet him. Follow me. It's Elder Tian? Good. Ying Shanlai Hu was very passionate. The gray-robed old man had a cold expression. He grabbed Ying Shanlai Hu and directly teleported over. Before Ying Shanlai Hu was taken away, he even ordered. Bring this treasured carriage of mine back. No, I'll have to change this carriage when I return. Ying Shanlai Hu was already thinking of a better life in the future. So. Under the teleportation very soon, the gray-robed old man brought Ying Shanlai Hu back to the marquisdom. They arrived at the core where Grandpa Marquis stayed. Wait here. The gray-robed old man brought Ying Shanlai Hu down. What is going on? Ying Shanlai Hu looked ahead. The surrounding protectors all had cold expressions. The atmosphere was even slightly stifling. Even the gray-robed old man did not smile. Isn't it a joyous occasion? What is going on? Why is it so frightening? Ying Shanlai Hu shrunk his head as he looked around him. He rarely came to the place of his father. After all, he was not qualified to come if his father did not summon him. Elder Tian, where is that son of mine? Ying Shanlai Hu could not help but ask. He was the son of a void god at birth. Currently, he was slightly vexed that he did not visit him more often. But no matter what, he was still his son. Prince Snow Eagle is currently together with Grandpa Marquis. The gray-robed old man said. Suddenly, a roar came from the distant palace hall. Capture that venomous woman Chan Yuyen Zhen for me. Ying Shanlai Hu was frightened by this roar to the point his legs turned soft. Chan Yuyen Zhen? Wasn't she his wife? Chapter 10:16. Within the palace hall, the red-haired male Marquis Ardent Fire sat at the highest position. By his sides were the two elders from the ancestral family, and the elders from the marquisdom. Naturally, There was also Rong Xinglan who was hugging her son. Rong Xinglan was slightly trembling. After all, she felt her legs turning soft after sitting together with Grandpa Marquis and the elders. And Dongbua Shuang could only forcefully endure it. With his heart realm, it was not hard for him to act like a child. It was just slightly awkward. I'll endure it for now, Dongbua Shuang thought. Let that fool in. Marquis Ardent Fire glanced at Ying Shanlai who was waiting obediently outside the palace hall. Even though this son was slightly trash, he was still a child he had when he was weak. Marquis Ardent Fire was very sentimental, and had personally arranged for a good marriage for his son. He had also transferred many resources to his son. Even though his son's bloodline was weak, he still hoped that his son could rise. It's a pity that this son had always been enjoying himself. Marquis Ardent Fire was slightly disappointed. Amen, this is that father of mine? Dongbua Shuang also saw the middle-aged male who entered. Facing the atmosphere within the palace hall, he could not help but bend his waist slightly. You stand there for me, Marquis Ardent Fire roared. Yes. Ying Shanlai who did not dare to disobey. He obediently stood there without uttering a word. But he could not help but turn towards that woman sitting by the side, and the child in her embrace. That child was currently observing him without the slightest bit of reverence. I am his father, yet he dares to look at me like this? I must teach him a good lesson. No, I can't defeat him. He is a void god at birth. Ying Shanlai who suddenly felt bitter in his heart. I'm afraid the protectors and servants arranged by the marquisdom for him will be much stronger than mine. He is merely a child. I am ultimately his father. In the future, as long as I coax him more, he will definitely become closer to me. Ying Shanlai who planned inwardly. The treasures he will obtain will definitely be much more than mine. By then, I'll be able to enjoy myself endlessly. If one were to say that he still had the fighting spirit to cultivate in the past, but after being corroded by the long years of enjoyment, he no longer had any ambition. Phew! A figure was thrown into the palace hall. It was none other than the red-robed girl Chan Yu Yinjun. At this moment, Chan Yu Yinjun fell down in a sorry state. She looked up and saw Marquis Ardent Fire sitting high above. She saw the elder from the ancestral family, the elder from the marquisdom, and that lowly servant Rong Xinglan who was carrying a child. Master Marquis. Chan Yu Yinjun hurriedly stood up. She was extremely respectful. No matter how arrogant she was, she had to behave herself at this moment. You are truly daring. You even dare to violate the rules of the Yingshan clan, Marquis Ardent Fire coldly said. You actually dared to force a pregnant woman of my Yingshan clan to drink the poisonous medicinal liquid, causing the child with the most extraordinary bloodline to be born prematurely. He was born in just 15 years. He became a void god in 15 years. If he were to continue nurturing normally, not only him, the two elders of the Zone clan, and the surrounding elders of the Marquis Manor, were all staring at Chan Yu Yinjun in anger. The stronger the family, the higher the status of a member of the family. This Chan Yu Yinjun had caused the talented Yingshan Snow Eagle to be unable to stay in the womb for a long period because of her. If she were to stay for a few hundred years, her bloodline would be even denser, and her potential would be much higher. It was all because of this venomous woman. Poisonous medicinal liquid? Born in just 15 years? Ying Shanlai who stared at Chan Yu Yinjun with wide eyes. How could this be? Why was this madam of his so daring? Even though he, Ying Shanlai who, had many women, strictly speaking, he only had a single wife, Chan Yu Yinjun. This was a marriage that his father Marquis Ardent Fire sought for him. It was a genuine betrothal gift, a formal marriage, and a banquet was held. Chan Yu Yinjun was also a disciple from an aristocratic family, and she was at the Unity realm. Hence, he would usually feel short of breath when facing his wife. As for other women, many of them were directly snatched over, and their statuses were low. Within the marquisdom, those women were usually at the lowest 6th grade, similar to the female servants. Only by giving birth to a child could their statuses rise. Hence, Ying Shanlai who did not care about those women at all. They were merely used by him to vent his emotions. His feelings towards those women could not even compare to Fu from the Misty Cloud Pavilion. He would frequently pamper Fu. Instead, It was the several hundred women of his that he rarely met. His wife actually did such a thing. Ying Shanlai, who did not dare believe it. No, I didn't. Chan Yu Yenjin anxiously said. Grandpa Marquis, please investigate clearly. Ever since Yin Jun left the Chan Yu clan and married into the Ying Shan clan, she has always been careful and did not dare to violate the rules of the Ying Shan clan. The matter regarding the poisonous medicinal liquid is unrelated to me. There must be someone who wants to destroy the future genius disciple of my Ying Shan clan. Hence, he sent that Manager Tian and framed me. I am innocent. Manager Tian should be killed by you, right? Marquis Ardent Fire looked down at Chan Yu Yin Jun. I discovered that a servant of his dared to scheme against me. That was why I killed him out of anger. Chan Yu Yin Jun said. This was the only thing she did that was not clean. After all, the time was too short, and she could only act personally. Your hands are quite clean. Those who are involved in this matter are either dead or unaware of it. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at Chan Yu Yin Jun. Yet you are still reluctant to admit it. There must be someone scheming behind the scenes framing me. Chan Yu Yin Jun added. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at her coldly. With a single order, he had already investigated everything that could be investigated. Even though there were treasures that could interfere with time-space, there were still experts within the Marquisdom who could disregard such interference and investigate the past. It's a pity that all clues were cut off. Those who died or disappeared, but the source of everything seemed to point towards Chan Yu Yin Jun. Only the matter regarding Manager Tian was done in the most direct manner. It was done by Chan Yu Yin Jun personally. If it was a weak disciple that was not noticed by Marquis Ardent Fire, this matter would most likely be covered up. But after all, it was a talented existence like Ying Shan Snow Eagle. 2 elders from the ancestral family. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at the 2 elders by the side. This venomous woman still does not admit to it. All right, I'll have to trouble the 2 elders from the ancestral family to bring her back to the ancestral family to investigate her soul. All right. The 2 elders from the ancestral family nodded. Chan Yu Yinjin turned pale. Who? The tall and thin elder from the ancestral family extended his hand. He directly enveloped Chan Yu Yin Jun with an unseen power, before keeping her into his Eden treasure. Ying Shanlai, who looked at everything with shock. He did not dare to utter a word. Snow Eagle. Marquis Ardent Fire turned to Dongbua Shuang. He revealed a grin at that moment, and said with a chuckle. Grandpa Marquis. Dongbua Shuang immediately jumped down from the thigh of his mother. His voice was clear. Seeing this chubby little child in front of him, Marquis Ardent Fire's mood became great. He chuckled. I've arranged a protector captain for you. He will definitely protect you well. Saying that, Marquis Ardent Fire looked outside the palace. A gray-robed old man immediately walked in. This is Elder Tian Yiji. Other than me, he will only listen to your orders. Marquis Ardent Fire said. Prince Snow Eagle. The gray-robed old man respectfully greeted with a smile. Are you very formidable? Still all right. The gray-robed old man was not arrogant at all. He had completely immersed himself into the role of the protector captain. Marquis Ardent Fire waved his hand again. At that moment, 2 black lights flew out. They landed on the ground and turned into 2 black mutated beasts. Their fur was glossy, and their eyes were blood red. They were emitting an aura at the Unity Realm. This pair are both black stream cloud wolves. This pair of black stream cloud wolves abruptly turned into human form. The 2 black-robed young men bowed at the same time. Greetings, Master. After a moment, everything was arranged properly. Alright, go. Have a look at the residence I've arranged for the 2 of you. Also, remember to visit the book repository pavilion and have a look. Tell me after you have decided on your path of cultivation. Marquis Ardent Fire said. Yes, Grandpa Marquis. Dongbua Shuang said with a clear voice. Then I'll be leaving first. Let us go. Saying that, he called out to his mother. He directly sat on a black stream cloud wolf. Elder Tian and the other black stream cloud wolf also left. You should go back and reflect on yourself. Only then did Marquis Ardent Fire reprimanding Shanlai who, Ying Shanlai who could only obediently acknowledge. He felt helpless in his heart, since he came here only to be reprimanded. The two elders from the ancestral family within the palace hall also stood up. It is time for us to return. This little fellow's snow eagle has extraordinary potential. This time, he was forced to be born prematurely, and it is truly painful. But this also represents that he has an extremely high potential. I'll report this to old ancestor, and by then, he will be bestowed with more precious treasures. Who knows, he might even be able to nurture his bloodline. The tall and thin elder from the ancestral family said. Amen. I'll also properly groom him. Marquis Ardent Fire nodded. The Ardent Fire Marquisdom occupied a huge area. It was simply a city within a city. Grandpa Marquis, the elders, and the countless disciples that had reproduced over 1 trillion years lived here. This Marquisdom was naturally huge, and there were many residences within. The residence that was arranged for Dombo Shui-ing was not any weaker than that of an elder. Wah! This little Prince Shui-ing, who was doted on by everyone, was currently barefooted, happily running around the mansion. There were many servants within the residence, and a large group of protectors guarding the surroundings. His mother Rong Xinglan and sister Ying Shan Shiyu had also moved here. This residence was much bigger than Ying Shan Lai Hu's and Chan Yu Yinzhen's previous residences. Go. Grandpa Marquis asked me to go to the book repository pavilion. He mentioned that there are many books there, and I haven't seen them yet. Go. Dombo Shui-ing directly leaped up. He sat on the black stream cloud wolf. Go. The two black stream cloud wolves immediately rushed into the sky. Elder Tian easily followed behind. There was also a team of 9 protectors following behind. These 9 were personal guards, and all of them were at the Unity Realm. Hoo-hoo! They whistled as they flew above the Marquisdom. Some of the other disciples within the Marquisdom made way when they saw them. That is the little Prince Snow Eagle. It's him. He is a void god at birth. Look, even Elder Tian has become his protector. There were all sorts of discussions going on in the distance. Dombo Shui-ing did not care. At this moment, he was sitting on the back of the black stream cloud wolf, in a contented manner. His gaze landed on a towering tall building in the distance. That was the book repository pavilion. The book repository pavilion contained many absolute arts from the lowest level to the highest level. There were strict requirements to enter the higher levels, and the number of times one could enter was limited too. But as for Dombo Shui-ing, he could casually browse through the entire book repository pavilion for as long as he wanted. This is my destination. Dombo Shui-ing was not as casual in his heart as he appeared on the surface. He attached great importance to this book repository pavilion. Only by relying on this book repository pavilion can I truly understand the distribution of organizations in the realm Heart Great Land and the level of experts. Only by understanding everything can I determine a suitable path of growth for myself. Go, hurry up. The black stream cloud wolf directly rushed down towards that book repository pavilion. The protectors by the entrance of the book repository pavilion saw it from afar. Black stream cloud wolf? Elder Tian? That is the little Prince Snow Eagle. The protectors by the entrance, and even the hidden experts did not dare to obstruct him. They could only shout from afar. Prince Snow Eagle, you can enter, but the protectors cannot. Chapter 10:17. Those protectors and hidden experts in the book repository pavilion let out a sigh of relief, because little Snow Eagle did not cause a ruckus. He directly leapt down from the black stream cloud wolf and entered the book repository pavilion. Elder Tian, the 2 black stream cloud wolves, and the 9 personal protectors were waiting outside. They felt reassured since the book repository pavilion was an extremely safe place. Searching for books. The moment he entered, he saw many rows of bookshelves. There were many unique books placed on the bookshelves. They were emitting a mysterious aura. Dombo Shui-ing casually flipped through a few books the moment he entered. He then proceeded to flip through the other books. Looking here and there, he seemed to be reading every single book for a moment. Look, that is little Prince Snow Eagle. He is a void god at birth. Even though the information in these books is transmitted into his soul the moment he flipped through them, allowing him to understand them directly, the first level of the book repository pavilion is filled with the most ordinary books. But the first floor of the library is filled with the most ordinary books. Is he wasting his time here? Some of the disciples of the Marquis's mansion noticed this scene and chatted with each other via voice transmission. They did not dare to say it loudly for fear of angering this little Prince Snow Eagle, who did not understand the ways of the world. They then continued flipping through the books. The first level was filled with miscellaneous books with low value. They were merely flipping through them for the sake of finding traces of ancient historical remains. Prince Snow Eagle, if you want to find cultivation books, you can go to the second or third level. The higher you go, the more valuable the books will be. At that moment, a disciple from the marquisdom came over. He wanted to get familiar with the other party. Many thanks. Dongbo Shuang did not even raise his head. He casually waved his hand, and that disciple from the marquisdom could only awkwardly retreat. He flipped through the books here and there. It did not seem like he was reading, even though those who were paying attention to Dongbo Shuang in the dark felt speechless. They gradually became too lazy to care about him. There are too many books. There are all sorts of miscellaneous books, and even some fragmented cultivation techniques. Dongbo Shuang was slightly speechless. After all, the marquisdom had existed for a long time. This book repository pavilion was naturally filled with a vast amount of books. Even with Dongbo Shuang's fast speed, he still spent more than 2 hours before he found the book he wanted. Found it. Dongbo Shuang flipped through a thick gray book, and his eyes lit up. The very first page caused his eyes to light up. This book described the various nations in the realm Heart Great Land. After all, the realm Heart Great Land was too big, and there were many nations. Even primal chaos giants had not been to many places before. There were even some powerful cultivators who were determined to traverse through every single place in the entire realm Heart Great Land before recording it down for their juniors to read. Good heavens! Looking at it, Dongbo Shuang sucked in a breath of cold air. Cultivation in the realm Heart Great Land far surpassed that in the primal chaos void. The bloodline cultivation system was the #1 system across the entire realm Heart Great Land. There were many cultivators, and they could allow their children to be extremely powerful the moment they were born. The most outstanding children could even reach the Unity realm at birth. A cosmos god could similarly have several hundred to 1,000 children. During cultivation, there were many absolute arts that complemented the bloodline cultivation system. As for the laws and profound mysteries system, witchcraft cultivation system, ancient cultivation system, and other systems, they had long existed here. Moreover, they were much more developed. There were even those like Myriad Realm Tavern Master and Mount Chime who could refine avatars. But it seemed to be a secret importation technique here too. Isn't this too powerful? Dongbo Shuang became more and more startled as he read. Realm Heart Great Land. It existed for a much longer period than the primal chaos void, and its foundation was naturally deeper. Furthermore, there was no mention of a great apocalypse. It had existed for an unknown period of time. One could only ascertain that there had been 2 wars of the ancient nations since ancient times. During the war, many nations were destroyed, causing the world to shatter. Many experts fell, and large batches of cosmos gods fell. And now, there were a total of more than 150 nations in the realm Heart Great Land. This book did not specify the exact number, because some of the smaller nations would occasionally emerge or be destroyed. Hence, the number of nations would usually fluctuate. Deducing from this book, there should be close to 1,000 cosmos gods in the realm Heart Great Land currently. Dongbo Shuang was startled as he read, including those that fell in the history of the primal chaos void. There should only be more than 30 cosmos gods. And the realm Heart Great Land was roughly 30 times that of the primal chaos void. That was normal. The 6 strongest nations have a long history. At the very least, they have dozens of cosmos gods. And at the very most, they have more than 100 cosmos gods. Dongbo Shuang sighed. The 6 great ancient nations should have more than 500 cosmos gods in total. The other 100 or so nations were comparatively weaker. For instance, the Southern Cloud Nation was considered a Tier 2 nation. It had at least 4 cosmos gods. And the Southern Cloud King was even more famous in the realm Heart Great Land. Those truly weak nations would usually only have one or two weaker cosmos gods. It was possible that a battle between cosmos gods would cause such a nation to fall apart. Yuan. Dongbo Shuang also saw the description of Yuan in the book. He could not help but tremble. Yuan. He was publicly acknowledged as the #1 expert in the realm Heart Great Land. During the First and Second War of the Ancient Nations, the Yuan dynasty intervened, and the 6 great ancient nations stopped the war. Yuan constructed many God Yuan palaces scattered across the realm Heart Great Land. The God Yuan Palace was split into 10 levels. The God Yuan Palace is similar to the Star Pagoda? Dongbo Shuang vaguely deduced from the description. The God Yuan Palace and the Star Pagoda seem to divide strength the same? But the Star Pagoda has 9 levels, and the God Yuan Palace has 10 levels. Furthermore, the research on cultivation techniques and combat secret techniques in the realm Heart Great Land far surpasses that of the primal chaos void. Dongbo Shuang felt slightly fearful. According to the description in the book, at the Unity Realm, if one merely researched on the laws and profound mysteries, they could reach the God Yuan Palace 7th level. But by relying on external forces and secret techniques, a Unity Realm expert could unleash a strength at the God Yuan Palace 8th level. Primal Chaos Realm experts usually reach the God Yuan Palace 9th level. But by relying on external forces and secret techniques, they could unleash a strength at the God Yuan Palace 10th level, and could even suppress new cosmos gods. A Primal Chaos Realm expert could suppress a new cosmos god? Dongbo Shuang praised. At where he came from, the limit of the Primal Chaos Realm was the 9th level. It was amazing for one to survive against a cosmos god. To suppress them, heavily injure them, that was a dream. But it was possible in the realm Heart Great Land. Even though this book introduced the various nations, 1/3 of it was praising the Southern Cloud Nation. The Southern Cloud Nation was indeed proud. Even though it was a Tier 2 nation, the religion created by the Southern Cloud King, the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion, was one of the 10 great religions with the most cultivators in the entire realm Heart Great Land. This also made the Southern Cloud King famous. Many cultivators from the 6 great ancient nations came here, after much hardship, just to listen to the teachings of the Southern Cloud King. So powerful. Dongbo Shuang felt his heart trembling as he read through the introduction of many absolute arts. Many absolute arts reduced the difficulty of cultivation. If one wanted to spread their religion, the difficulty of cultivation had to be low, and the cultivator had to be strong enough. Because the competition was too intense, some of the more complex absolute arts created by cosmos gods were not willing to learn. And the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion was famous for its rapid improvement in cultivation. It had even become one of the 10 great religions in the realm Heart Great Land. This is madness. This is madness. Shuang finally understood what Yuan meant by having a deeper foundation. How deep was it? His hometown was clearly much cruder in terms of cultivation. Chapter 10:18. Dongbo Shuang searched for similar books within the book repository pavilion. Only after half a month did he stop reading. During this half a month, traces of historical remains, Scarlet Bull Palace treasures. There were many records of various historical remains in the book repository pavilion. But Dongbo Shuang could guess that most of them were useless. Those that were recorded should have long been known by others. In the 2 horrifying War of the Ancient Nations, many experts fell, including batches of cosmos gods. For instance, Scarlet Bull Palace Master was one of the most famous existences that died. Dozens of cosmos gods had died in his hands. Dongbo Shuang deduced that he should be at the level of Sacred Master. This made Dongbo Shuang understand that there were quite a few Sacred Masters who fell in the history of realm Heart Great Land. There were probably even more who were still alive. Such a terrifying realm Heart Great Land. Dongbo Shuang muttered inwardly. Even though it was an origin world like the Primal Chaos Void, its foundation was much deeper. No wonder Yuan left behind an opportunity for his descendants to enter the realm Heart Great Land. There should be more than one like me who reincarnated into the realm Heart Great Land. Dongbo Shuang sighed inwardly. Furthermore, it seems the smaller nations aren't too safe. Dongbo Shuang discovered the danger from this. The Southern Cloud Nation was located south of the six great ancient nations. Summer Wind Ancient Nation. South of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, all the way to the Black Prisonine Sea. There were a total of 4 nations and a huge lake. That Great Lake. It was a famous danger ground in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. The space here was chaotic. Previously, one could be at this location, yet with a single step, one could be 1,000,000,000,000 kilometers away. Hence, this place became the hiding place for many great devils. Many devils from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and other places in the Realm Heart Great Land gathered here too. Hence, this place was called the Black Devil Great Lake. The surrounding 4 nations were also known as the Black Devil 4 Nations. The Black Devil Great Lake was huge. It was not any smaller than a nation. There were many devils here, and close to 10 cosmos gods. It was one of the most famous gathering places for devils across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. It was hard for the 6 great ancient nations to eliminate them. For instance, the Southern Cloud Nation had the Southern Cloud King. Hence, few devils from the Black Devil Great Lake came to cause trouble. Like the Fiery Zhao Nation, which was also one of the Black Devil 4 nations. Even though they had 3 cosmos gods, they did not have the deterrence of Southern Cloud King. Hence, the Fiery Zhao Nation had practically become the backyard of the Black Devil Great Lake. Devils frequently wreaked havoc, and it was common for cities to be destroyed. Even the Fiery Zhao Emperor could only endure it, because the previous Fiery Zhao Emperor had died at the hands of a demon from the Black Devil Lake. Even though the Southern Cloud Nation was much better, there were still some battles with the Black Devil Great Lake. It's just that cosmos gods would not casually act. Danger lurks everywhere. Dongbo Shuang shook his head. Nations were fought for with strength. For instance, the Snowhook Nation of the Black Devil 4 Nations had a total of 5 cosmos gods. They were incredibly powerful, and the Snowhook King was an extremely crazy person. He was not willing to endure against the ancient nations, and had fought with 3 great ancient nations. Even though many died in his nation, the Snowhook King was sufficiently formidable in survival, allowing the nation to survive. Truly amazing. He fought with the 3 great ancient nations, yet a Tier 2 nation like the Snowhook Nation could still stand until now. Dongbo Shuang sighed inwardly. Both the Southern Cloud King and Snowhook King were absolute overlords. But the Southern Cloud King was much gentler. He befriended various parties and spread his absolute art. He had many disciples in the 6 great ancient nations. Hence, the Southern Cloud Nation was comparatively the most stable. Dongbo Shuang placed down the scripture. He made his decision in his heart. From what I read these few days, the most suitable absolute art for me to cultivate is the Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles. The Southern Cloud Sacred Religion was one of the 10 great religions in Realm Heart Great Land. One had to know that there were quite a few cosmos gods at the level of Sacred Master. Yet the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion could still be ranked among the 10 great religions. The reason why the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion was so famous was because of an absolute art created by the Southern Cloud King, the Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles. It was so famous that most cultivators who were slightly stronger in the Realm Heart Great Land would know of this absolute art. In the Southern Cloud Nation, almost everyone knew of it. I have stimulated my void bloodline, and my accumulations in the void are quite deep. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. This Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles is a void-related absolute art. Void, time and space were things that any cultivator could sense at a very early stage. As long as one was a true god, they could control time and space to a certain extent. To the Realm Heart Great Land, which had many true gods, it was relatively easy to grasp a void-related absolute art. In addition to how powerful it was, one could easily grasp teleportation after cultivating it to a very deep stage. Hence, the Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles had the innate potential to spread far and wide. Naturally, there were many void-related absolute arts too. The reason why it could spread far and wide was because it was relatively easy to cultivate. By the lake, Marquis Ardent Fire was currently angling. Dongbo Shuang rode on the black stream Cloud Wolf and rapidly arrived. Elder Tian, and the other personal guards were watching from afar. Dongbo Shuang leaped down and said, "Grandpa Marquis, I've read through quite a few books in the book repository pavilion, and have decided on what I should cultivate." "Oh, what are you planning to cultivate?" The red-haired male Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled at Dongbo Shuang. "Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles." Dongbo Shuang did not hesitate. "This is the most famous absolute art of my Southern Cloud nation, and is also created by the king. It is suitable for those who are talented in the void." Marquis Ardent Fire looked at Dongbo Shuang. The surrounding void around Dongbo Shuang abruptly fluctuated. Many void ripples appeared. Marquis Ardent Fire's eyes brightened when he saw that. "Ha! Since you have awakened a void-related bloodline, then there shouldn't be any problems. In my Southern Cloud nation, there are many who cultivate the Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles. Even though it is easy to cultivate, there are very few who could reach a profound realm. You should also focus on cultivating it. Fortunately, my marquisdom has quite a few cultivators who cultivate the Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles." Dongbo Shuang naturally understood. He was from the Southern Cloud nation, and it was he who activated this void bloodline. He originally had the accumulation of the void. That was why he chose to cultivate this absolute art. Even though this absolute art was relatively easy to cultivate, it was only relatively. The path of cultivation was ultimately bumpy. But to reach the Unity Realm 8th level, the difficulty would most likely be equivalent to reaching the Unity Realm 7th level back in the Primal Chaos Void. But Dongbo Shuang did not care. Even if he walked the path of the laws and profound mysteries, he was confident of reaching the 9th level. "Are you going to learn it now?" Marquis Ardent Fire asked. "Yes," Dongbo Shuang immediately answered. "All right, let's go. I'll bring you to the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace," Marquis Ardent Fire said. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at the distant Elder Tion and the others. He ordered, "All of you should first return to the residence of Snow Eagle and wait. In a while, I'll personally send him back." "Yes, Grandpa Marquis." Everyone present obeyed. "Let us go." Marquis Ardent Fire brought along Dongbo Shuang. A red-haired male brought along a little doll. They directly tore through the void and left the marquisdom. Soon, they arrived at the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace within the Ardent Fire City. The Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Even in the 6 great ancient nations, there would be a Southern Cloud Sacred Palace located in slightly bigger cities. It accepted cultivators from all over the world to cultivate here. But if one wanted to cultivate to the highest level, most would have to come to the Southern Cloud Nation. And within the Southern Cloud Nation, other than teaching disciples, the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace was also a unique organization that recruited powerful cultivators. Joining the Sacred Palace represented pledging allegiance to the king, and they would obtain all sorts of special benefits. And the one managing the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace within the Ardent Fire City was one of the 2 giants of the city, Chun Yue. Who? A red-haired male. And a little doll stood by the entrance of the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. "Grandpa Marquis is here personally?" A tall and thin male wearing gray armor walked out. As he walked, his entire body felt like a blade cutting apart the void. Wherever he passed, the void would ripple to both sides. His gaze landed on Dongbo Shuang. He chuckled. "This should be the Yingshan Snow Eagle little prince, right? He is a void god at birth and is amazing. Grandpa Marquis has brought him over to my place?" Snow Eagle has decided to join the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled too. Good. Come, let's talk in detail." Chun Yue enthusiastically led the way. Chapter 1019. Ardent Fire City, within a side hall of the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Chun Yue and Marquis Ardent Fire were seated by the 2 sides. Each of them had a long table in front of them. Dongbo Shuang was currently just a child, and was seated by the side of Marquis Ardent Fire. "Little Prince Snow Eagle, even though I'm the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace Hall Master of this Ardent Fire City, I have to make things clear beforehand. There are many cultivation techniques in this world, and there are some formidable inheritances from the 6 great ancient nations, spreading within my Southern Cloud Nation. Even though it is hard to find one in Ardent Fire City, It is easy to find one in the capital. Chun Yue smiled. Even if it is the same void path, the 6 great ancient kingdoms also have similar absolute arts. I advise you to think carefully before deciding on what to focus on. After all, cultivation consumes a lot of energy. Most people focus on one type of absolute art. Younger brother Wei Yi, Yingshan Snow Eagle, has activated his void bloodline. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled. Previously, he slightly activated his bloodline in front of me. I could vaguely sense that the aura of that bloodline is ancient and unfathomable. It is a Cosmos God bloodline. Haha, Snow Eagle is a disciple of my Yingshan clan. He has a Cosmos God level void bloodline in his body, and this bloodline comes from the king. Even some void-related absolute arts from the 6 great ancient nations aren't as suitable for Snow Eagle as the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Cosmos God level bloodline? Chun Yue was startled at that moment. There were only a total of 4 Cosmos gods in the Southern Cloud Nation, and all of them took different paths. The bloodline of the void could only be that of the monarch, because the 4 great clans and the aristocratic marquis clans frequently intermarried with one another. Even though they would occasionally intermarry with the neighboring nations, the Southern Cloud King was the only Cosmos god with a void bloodline. Over the long years, as long as it was not a relatively ancient batch of old fellows, the Southern Cloud King would be able to have a Cosmos god bloodline. Most of the new generation of aristocratic marquis clan disciples had Cosmos god bloodline in their bodies. However, it was too thin, and the difficulty of activating it was ridiculously high. The Cosmos god bloodline in Dongbua Shuiying's body was similarly thin, but his realm was high. Even without his bloodline, he was fully confident of reaching the pinnacle of primal chaos realm, much less activating his bloodline. With the king's void bloodline in his body, cultivating the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles would indeed yield twice the result with half the effort. Chun Yue nodded. Saying that, he flipped his hand, bringing out a black book. The black book flew straight towards Dongbua Shuiying and landed in front of him. Dongbua Shuiying looked at the black book in front of him. The material of the book was pitch black, and it reminded Dongbua Shuiying of the feeling he had when he looked at the essence of the void, the black fog sphere. Complete scroll. Marquis Ardent Fire was slightly startled by the side. It should cost 100,000 Cosmos crystals. No need. Chun Yue chuckled and shook his head. Little Prince Snow Eagle's talent is amazing. He is a void god at birth, and he has even activated the void bloodline of the king. You are completely qualified to cultivate the entire Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles for free. I only have to make a simple report to the higher-ups after this. Dongbua Shuiying understood what was going on. He had read through many books and knew of some of the rules of the Southern Cloud sacred religion regarding the dissemination of absolute arts. The Southern Cloud sacred religion was so famous that it could become one of the top 10 great religions in the entire realm Heart Great Land. Most who joined the Southern Cloud sacred religion would have to cultivate the first half of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Only after reaching the Unity realm would they be qualified to cultivate the second half. Furthermore, cultivation required fees. Why did those sects work so hard to spread their absolute arts? It was to earn a huge sum of Cosmos crystals. A complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles cost a total of 100,000 Cosmos crystals. Being one of the top 10 great religions in Realm Heart Great Land, how many cultivators chose to learn it? Even those who majored in other absolute arts would have some understanding of it. The accumulation of a sea of cultivators produced a wealth that could drive even Cosmos gods crazy. The Southern Cloud Nation relied on this to earn a frightening amount of wealth. Wealth was resources. In terms of wealth, Southern Cloud King was ranked at the forefront across all Cosmos gods across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Many Cosmos gods envied the other party. They were also working hard to create an absolute art. Wanting to cultivate an absolute art that was easy and powerful was too difficult. Furthermore, to have spread to such an extent, it needed to be managed well. For instance, cultivating an absolute art did not require a fee. If one's talent was heaven-defying, he could apply to impart the absolute art for free. Because absolute geniuses cultivating the absolute art of the Southern Cloud sacred religion would ultimately make the Southern Cloud sacred religion more famous. But the conditions for free were harsh. Dongbo Shui-ing was a disciple from an aristocratic clan within the Southern Cloud nation. His talent was heaven-defying, and he had awakened the bloodline of the king. Hence, Chun Yue was 100% confident. Hua. Dongbo Shui-ing flipped through the black book in his hand. Just as he flipped it open, a large amount of light shot out from the black book. It directly entered between the eyebrows of Dongbo Shui-ing. Hong! The mind of Dongbo Shui-ing boomed. He could vaguely see a scene, amidst a piece of primal chaos where one could not see the front, the back, the left and the right. A thin and small figure stood there. Just by standing there, he gave Dongbo Shui-ing a horrifying suppression. This suppression surpassed that of Jiazhu, Wuzhu and the others. It seemed that only the vast and boundless aura of Sacred Master was stronger by a level. This thin and small figure had a tall nose. His eyes were deep and serene. He then began displaying his techniques. His entire body was like a weapon. His legs, elbows, back, head, palms, fists, fingers, in any case, every part of his body was a terrifying weapon. His techniques were also becoming more and more profound. Towards the end, his power became more horrifying. Hua. The thin and small figure chopped down with his palm. The huge stars in the distance, as well as the mini cultivators and flying ships, all turned into a painting in an instant. Those stars, cultivators, and flying ships became a part of the painting. Hong. Following that, the thin and small figure tapped out with his finger. Hong. With a tap of his finger, everything shattered. Furthermore, at the moment when everything shattered, Dongbo Shui-ing could vaguely sense a great terror. That horrifying aura was something he had discovered in the past, when he peered into the higher dimension through the black fog hole. Following that, everything dissipated. That thin and small figure turned into many pieces of information that fused into the soul of Dongbo Shui-ing. It was none other than the detailed cultivation technique of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. But this cultivation technique was vaguely restricted. Dongbo Shui-ing understood that even if he learned it completely, he could not break through the restriction and impart it to others. What a terrifying absolute art. A single palm caused the entire world to turn into a painting? A single finger broke through the void cage and allowed him to see the higher dimension? Dongbo Shui-ing was startled. This was only imparted to others by Southern Cloud King. How strong had he become? No wonder he could single-handedly create a religion that could be ranked among the top 10 great religions in the realm Heart Great Land. It was unfathomable. Within the palace hall, Marquis Ardent Fire and Chun Yue were chatting and drinking. They did not disturb Dongbo Shui-ing, who was beside them. They knew that Dongbo Shui-ing was currently immersed in the process of receiving the inheritance. Who? Dongbo Shui-ing placed down the black book. He could not conceal the shock on his face. He had to properly cultivate this absolute art. Little Prince Snow Eagle, you've learned the absolute art too. Chun Yue chuckled. Only after receiving the inheritance would you be able to see the king display the complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. In the future, it will be rare for you to have such an opportunity. You should experience it more. Dongbo Shui-ing nodded. He added, Hallmaster, I've heard that the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles that was imparted to others isn't the complete one? Right. Chun Yue nodded. Previously, you have seen the king display the complete art. What you are learning is the simplified version. After all, in order to spread it across the many nations in the realm Heart Great Land, it has to be cheap and simple. This simplified version is sufficient. You can reach the 7th level strength at the Unity Realm, and the 9th level at the Primal Chaos Realm. Dongbo Shui-ing nodded. One could cultivate it to the 7th level at the Unity Realm, and the 9th level at the Primal Chaos Realm. Where he came from, that was the limit. And this was merely the simplified version of this absolute art. If you can reach the 5th level strength at the Unity Realm, I can help you apply to become an inner disciple. By then, your Yingshan clan just has to spend some effort, and it won't be hard for you to become an inner disciple. By then, you will be able to obtain the complete version of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Chun Yue chuckled. Actually, many cultivators are ambitious. They want to obtain the complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. But how many could unleash the 8th level strength at the Unity Realm? And how many could reach the God Yuan Palace 10th level strength at the Primal Chaos Realm and suppress new cosmos gods? If you could reach that stage, the king will definitely take the initiative to accept you as a personal disciple and obtain other secret importations. Very soon, Dongbua Ying and Marquis Ardent Fire left the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace and returned to the Marquisdom. Returning to his residence, Dongbua Ying immediately began researching this Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Chapter 1020. Yingshan City was a great city ranked at the forefront across the entire Southern Cloud nation. The city was vast and boundless, and it was where the Yingshan ancestral family was located. Within the ancestral family, there was a towering snowy mountain peak. There were more than 10 houses here, and it was relatively quiet. This was where the old ancestor of the entire Yingshan clan, Old Mother Yingshan, lived. Ancestor. An elder from the Zone clan respectfully greeted. Old Mother Yingshan was seated cross-legged on a huge rock overlooking the huge Yingshan clan king residence. She shook her head. That little fellow called Snow Eagle has a great talent, but it's a pity that he was forced to be born prematurely after just 15 years. Otherwise, if they were to be reborn after a few hundred years, the bloodline in their bodies would be much stronger. What a pity. Oh right. Is it confirmed that Chanyu Yenjin is the murderer? No. The white-haired elder respectfully said. We used an illusory realm array to trap her in an illusory realm. In the illusory realm, she will obediently confess everything. But in the illusion, she said that she didn't kill him, and that someone framed her. Oh, the wrinkled old face of Old Mother Yingshan remained expressionless. There are two possibilities. One, she was indeed wronged. Secondly, she should have erased a portion of her own memories. The doyen from the ancestral clan spoke. Erased memories can't be recovered, and there's no way to verify it. For cultivation experts, it was indeed not difficult to erase memories. But if he erased it, he would truly forget about it. Even he himself believed that his altered memories were real. We have also tried our best to investigate the other clues, but all of them have been cut off. Other than some that could not be investigated, the ones that could be investigated were all destroyed by Chanyu Yenjin. The ancestral clan doyen said. Right now we don't have any evidence. We can only deduce that Chanyu Yen was the one who did it, and even erased her own memories. She's a descendant of a noble family. If you want to kill her, you need evidence. If not, King Ho would have to act personally. An elder from the ancestral clan spoke. The descendants of noble clans had special privileges. The Southern Cloud Nation had its laws too. Aristocratic clan disciples could not be casually killed. Naturally, those like Marquis Ardent Fire and Old Mother Yingshan, who were conferred marquises and conferred kings, had greater authority. They could directly attack and kill him. Huo Lai, this brat, has encountered such a thing even though he is managing a marquisdom. Old Mother Yingshan frowned. Back then this marriage, it was Marquis Ardent Fire, who personally asked for this marriage with the Chanyu clan. One had to know that there were only 3 female conferred kings in the Southern Cloud Nation. Old Mother Yingshan had an extremely good relationship with the old ancestor of the Chanyu clan, Empress Chanyu. They were like sisters. This marriage was something that Old Mother Yingshan had once mentioned to Empress Chanyu. Chanyu Yenjin did not teach her well. She will be stripped of all her status in the marquisdom and chased out of the residence. Old Mother Yingshan casually said. On account of the fact that he had mentioned this marriage to Lady Chanyu before, she had shown some mercy. However, Chanyu Yenjin would no longer be a descendant of an aristocratic clan. Although she was at Unity Realm 4th level, she would only be an ordinary commoner. It would be a small matter for an aristocratic clan descendant to kill her. Those lands, cavern dwellings, shops, and other resources under Yingshan Lai whose name would no longer be touched by her. This is something I prepared for the little snow eagle to nurture his bloodline. He should have great potential that can be excavated. Old Mother Yingshan waved her hand and threw out a storage wristband. As for other resources and treasures, Prepare them according to your identity as a Yingshan Golden Order disciple. Alright, hurry up and send it over. Yes. This elder respectfully acknowledged. Old Mother Yingshan's eyes were filled with expectation. Those who were born prematurely would be the ones with the strongest bloodline in the history of the Yingshan clan. After all, in the realm Heart Great Land, only a clan was truly united. It was common for a clan to escape and seek refuge in another nation when they could not stand it. Strictly speaking, the Black Devil Four Nations were part of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, of the 6 great ancient nations in the earliest period. It's just that over time, and after 2 War of the Ancient Nations, some clans broke away from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and occupied a piece of land to build their own nation. Some clans even offended other superpowers and were forced to flee, seeking refuge in another nation. Hence, when a genius appeared in a clan, the clan would definitely do their best to groom him. Every child born in the clan would be carefully nurtured. It's just that as the clan was too big, there would inevitably be some black sheep. Let's see. Let's see when this little fellow Snow Eagle will break through to the Unity Realm. Old Mother Yingshan thought. By seeing how long he takes to reach the Unity Realm, we can determine the potential of his bloodline. Scram. In the future, if you dare take half a step into the marquisdom, I'll kill you. Chan Yuyenjun stood outside the marquisdom in a daze. Her eyes were filled with despair. Ever since she joined the Yingshan clan, she was no longer a member of the Chan Yu clan. Instead, she was a part of the Yingshan clan. Now that she was stripped of her identity and chased out of the marquisdom, she was a commoner. Everything was gone. Gone. I really didn't. Chan Yuyenjun muttered. I am innocent. She erased and altered her memories so as to escape death. Until now, even she felt that she did not do anything and was innocent. Mother. Outside the marquisdom, 2 males brought along some servants and protectors standing there. Chan Yuyenjun looked over. My son, I am innocent. Mother, little brother, and I know you are innocent. It's just that currently, that Yingshan Snow Eagle is doted on by the entire Yingshan clan. Grandpa Marquis is also standing on his side. So what if his bloodline is strong? He might not be strong. In the future, when I become a conferred Marquis, I'll directly kill him so that Mother can vent her anger. The eldest son gritted his teeth. The second son was more low profile. After all, the eldest son had long reached the Unity Realm and was at the 4th level strength. He was qualified to say these words. The second son was currently at the Void God Origin Birth Realm and did not have the confidence to do so. Mother, I've arranged a residence for you. Go, endure it for now. Let's see what that little bastard can do in the future. I'm afraid he will have to cultivate for a long time before he reaches the Unity Realm. That eldest son snorted angrily. Zhongfu, I am truly innocent. Let's go. The entire Yingshan clan is siding with that Yingshan Snow Eagle. Even though Chan Yuyenjun felt great resentment in her heart, she was clear that she had been stripped of her identity as an aristocratic noble disciple. Hence, she was much more cautious when she spoke. Time passed. Dongbo Shuang did not place that Chan Yuyenjun in his eyes. After all, in his eyes, becoming a conferred king was an easy task for him. His goal was to become a cosmos god. Cultivation was the most important. In the blink of an eye, 1,500 years passed. To cultivators, this period was as short as 10 days to half a month for mortals. Ardent Fire Marquisdom. Dongbo Shuang was currently seated within a courtyard filled with birdsong and fragrant flowers. He held onto a book in his hand. His body felt warm. The spiritual liquid given by this old ancestor of the Yingshan clan is indeed good for nurturing the bloodline. This void bloodline of mine has become several dozen times denser, allowing me to cultivate more easily. It was mainly because it was too thin previously. Under normal circumstances, there was no value in nurturing such a thin bloodline. But there were many similarities between the void of the realm Heart Great Land and the void of the primal chaos void. Cultivation was originally simple and easy. With a void god soul, Dongbo Shuiying's cultivation speed was much faster than when he was in the womb. Furthermore, with the void bloodline as a reference, and the corresponding absolute art Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Dongbo Shuiying had actually succeeded in cultivating the third style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles in just 1,500 years, allowing him to reach the 5th level star pagoda strength in the past. In other words, he was at the God Yuan Palace 5th level strength. With this strength, he could naturally awaken and step into the unity realm. No rush, no rush. Even though I want to portray the image of an absolute genius, and was previously forced into the world, it is still too fast for me to reach the unity realm in just 1,000 years. Amen. It would be best if it is closer to 10,000 years. Dongbo Shuiying pondered. Let's do it for 8,000 years. He had read through too many miscellaneous books, and according to the examples of other bloodline-related absolute geniuses, he made a breakthrough plan for himself. He did not wish for himself to be too dazzling and be suspected of reincarnating, resulting in an ultra-strong expert coming over to inspect his memories. My son, my son. A loud shout could be heard from outside. One could see a male filled with smiles rushing over from afar. He was extremely passionate and cheerful. Dongbo Shuiying could not help but clutch his head. Oh, my father! This father of his, Yingshan Laihu, was truly an exquisite character. Star. Chapter 10:21. My son is reading. Father has brought you some of your favorite food. Yingshan Laihu flipped his hand. A wooden plate appeared with a single hand. On the wooden plate were some wooden cages and jade plates. All of them were filled with delicacies that emitted a strong fragrance. In the past, when Dongbo Shuiying chased after the destruction devils, he had also tasted all sorts of delicacies. Now that he reincarnated into the realm Heart Great Land, other than reading through many books, he would frequently visit the famous restaurants and taverns in the Ardent Fire City to eat delicacies. Currently, many aristocratic clan disciples in the Ardent Fire City knew that Prince Snow Eagle loved to eat. Elder Tian, I'm going to enter closed-door cultivation. Nobody is to disturb me. Dongbo Shuiying turned around and left. My son, Yingshan Laihu hurriedly came over. Elder Tian blocked in front of Yingshan Laihu. Prince Snow Eagle is going to enter closed-door cultivation. Don't disturb him. AI. Yingshan Laihu could only helplessly twitch his lips when he saw that. He casually took a snack from one of the wooden cages and threw it into his mouth. He doesn't want to eat such delicious food. Truly Wu, I'll let Xinglan eat it. Turning around, Yingshan Laihu went to find Rong Xinglan. Elder Tian muttered to himself when he saw this. This Yingshan Laihu's skin is really thick. The two black stream cloud wolves that were lying there glanced at the leaving Yingshan Laihu before closing their eyelids and went back to sleep. Who, I can't beat or drive them away. Their skin is so thick too. What a headache. Dongbo Shuiying hid in a pagoda. Within the pagoda, there were waves of spatial turbulence. At the center, there was a huge stone floating 3 meters in diameter. The moment Dongbo Shuiying entered, he appeared on top of that stone and sat down cross-legged. The surrounding spatial turbulence revolved around, and some of it permeated into the body of Dongbo Shuiying. This was a void god pagoda specially bought by the Ardent Fire Marquisdom for the sake of cultivating the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. It was meant for Dongbo Shuiying to cultivate. The father of this life? Dongbo Shuiying shook his head. He disliked Yingshan Laihu from the bottom of his heart. After all, before he revealed his shocking talent, Yingshan Laihu did not care about the life and death of his children. He only knew how to enjoy himself. He did not have any feelings for Rong Xinglan in the past. Just this alone was enough to cause Dongbo Shuiying to dislike him. However, ever since his birth he had been too dazzling. Yingshan Laihu would come here every few days. He welcomed the other party with a smile, and was very passionate. He could ignore him, but Yingshan Laihu would turn around to coax Rong Xinglan. He would often bring some food and drinks and some accessories to coax Rong Xinglan. Rong Xinglan discovered that her husband was treating her so well. Even though she knew that he was trying to curry favor with her, she gradually forgave him. Now that the relationship between Rong Xinglan and Yingshan Laihu became better, Dongbo Shuiying could only try his best to hide. Whatever, as long as mother is happy. and as long as he doesn't stir up trouble, I'll just treat him as a happy fruit for mother. Since I'm in seclusion, I should cultivate seriously. Dongbua Shuang glanced at the book in his hand before keeping it. This book also introduced the Southern Cloud King. During these years, Dongbua Shuang had collected many books on the Southern Cloud King. He had also collected some intelligence, discovering that the Southern Cloud King had long reached the pinnacle of voidification. He even had avatars. This made Dongbua Shuang feel that he had a bright future in the Southern Cloud sacred religion. It was worth it for him to focus on his cultivation. Keeping the book, Dongbua Shuang sat cross-legged on a floating rock. He began cultivating. Dongbua Shuang was different from others. He did not encounter any bottlenecks in cultivating the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. After all, the highest level of this simplified version was merely the God Yuan Palace 9th level strength. In addition to how powerful the Southern Cloud King was, the technique he created was easier to learn. Its difficulty was equivalent to creating an 8th level star pagoda technique in his previous life. In addition, there were many similarities between the void of the two origin worlds. Hence, he did not encounter any bottlenecks. As for his other main cultivation path, the Tao of Mirage, because the laws and profound mysteries were completely different, it was much slower for him to cultivate it. This was also the reason why Dongbua Shuang chose to rely on the Tao of Void to break through to the primal chaos realm. Only when his soul was stronger would he be able to cultivate the Tao of Mirage faster. Hung Long Long, his body was ringing. There were a total of 8 prismatic crystal pillars embedded within the Void God Pagoda. The chaotic spatial flow that was produced continuously permeated into the body of Dongbua Shuang, influencing his body. Some of the treasures and medicines he consumed were also nourishing his muscles, bones, and blood vessels, causing the blood vessels in his body to become denser. Actually, this God Pagoda was primarily used to cultivate the Southern Cloud sacred body. The Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles came with an important body cultivation technique, the Southern Cloud sacred body. The further one cultivated the Southern Cloud sacred body, the more precious treasures were required. Absorbing the essence of these treasures into one's body was akin to using the body as a secret treasure weapon. Once it was cultivated to the pinnacle, any part of the body could be used as a weapon in battle. His body could be said to be indestructible. Furthermore, it had the effect of voidification, allowing him to penetrate through the void and escape. Hence, this Southern Cloud sacred body was a relatively perfect survival technique. This was also one of the reasons why the Southern Cloud sacred religion could become one of the top 10 great religions in Realm Heart Great Land despite coming from a Tier 2 nation. Time passed. Amen. Dongbua Shuang suddenly sensed something. He abruptly stopped cultivating. 8,000 years have passed. Dongbua Shuang softly nodded. His plan was to break through to the Unity Realm when he was 8,000 years old. Even though time passed silently during cultivation, he would naturally stop at this point in time. I've mastered the 4th and 5th style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Dongbua Shuang sat cross-legged there. Hong! His entire body suddenly burst forth with formless void blades, flying out in all directions. Wherever they passed, ripples would appear in the void, and his might was so great that he even faintly had the demeanor of Chun Yue. So. Dongbua Shuang's body suddenly flashed. He teleported around the inner space of this Void God Pagoda, before returning to his original position, on top of the huge rock. I've grasped teleportation too. Dongbua Shuang softly nodded. The 4th and 5th style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles were techniques at the God Yuan Palace 6th level. The 6th and 7th style were techniques at the 7th level, and the 8th style was at the Primal Chaos Realm 7th level. Because some Primal Chaos giants might not reach the 7th level, just by using the profound mysteries at the Unity Realm. Hence, the 8th style utilized some profound mysteries at the Primal Chaos Realm, allowing most Primal Chaos giants to reach the 7th level. Only those at the 7th level were qualified to be conferred as conferred marquee. The 9th and 10th style were at the God Yuan Palace 8th level. The 11th and 12th style We're at the God Yuan Palace 9th level. I'm going out for a walk to relieve my boredom. When I return, I'll break through to the Unity Realm. Dongbo Shuang stood up. God Yuan Palace 6th level. One had to know that within the marquisdom, disciples at the God Yuan Palace 5th level could become elders. As long as the honored guests at the God Yuan Palace 6th level were loyal to the marquisdom, they could also become elders. An expert with such strength could casually join the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace, and he would have a high position with special privileges. In another Origin World Primal Chaos Void, new Primal Chaos Giants merely had the combat strength of the 6th level, leaving the Void God Pagoda. So. The two black stream cloud wolves that were guarding outside the pagoda immediately rushed over. In reality, there were guards guarding the surrounding courtyards of the Void God Pagoda. When Dongbo Shuang was in closed-door cultivation, other than Master Marquis, nobody dared to barge in. I'm going out for a walk. Dongbo Shuang had grown taller, giving him the demeanor of a handsome young man. Very soon, a carriage pulled by two dragon beasts appeared. The handsome young man sat on the carriage with two black stream cloud wolves lying in front of him. Beside him stood Elder Tian, and his 9 personal guards at the back of the carriage. The carriage rapidly arced through the sky and flew out of the marquisdom. Prince, where should we go first? Elder Tian asked. Let's go to the Lusian restaurant first. It has been a long time since I ate. My stomach is already growling. Dongbo Shuang said. The two black stream cloud wolves lying by his feet let out joyful roars. Clearly, the two of them liked the delicacies of the Lusian restaurant. Chapter 1022. The Liusian restaurant stretched for 2 to 3 miles along the street. Row upon row of pavilions were built, and the number of customers was like a tide. It was very lively. Young Master Snow Eagle, you haven't been here for a long time. Please come in, please come in. How about I arrange the Lord supporting building for you? A restaurant manager immediately took the initiative to welcome him. After all, in terms of status, this little Prince Yingshan Snow Eagle was ranked at the forefront in the entire Ardent Fire City. If he were to offend this Snow Eagle little prince, the entire restaurant would likely have to close down. Below one of the pavilions in the entire restaurant, the Auxiliary Lord Pavilion, the carriage and the dragon beast were also arranged there. Large pots of fruits and beast meat were also prepared for the dragon beast. The two dragons were also gobbling down the food. On the upper floor of Fujun Building, Dongbo Shuang and Elder Tian shared a table, while the 9 personal guards split into 2 tables at the corner. The 2 black stream cloud wolves were also served with exquisite plates of delicacies. Although this Liusian restaurant is barely ranked in the top 10, I like it the most. Dongbo Shuang ate to his heart's content. As a powerful cultivator, eating was purely for the enjoyment of delicious food. After all, not eating or drinking for hundreds of millions of years was a small matter. The maids were like clouds, serving delicacies one after another. These maids were usually world deities or true gods. Due to their abilities, it was not easy for them to find a good job in the Ardent Fire City. Hence, they could only run errands and become servants. Only after becoming a void god could he start doing some difficult tasks. After eating and drinking for more than an hour, his entire body was covered in perspiration. Dongbo Shuang gradually stopped drinking and started to enjoy his wine. At the same time, he was also looking at the scenery outside the window. Dongbo Shuang suddenly raised his head and looked into the distance. About 10 miles away, Dongbo Shuang furrowed his brows. Young master, Elder Tian asked. I'm almost done. It's time to go. Dongbo Shuang stood up. Elder Tian, the 2 black stream cloud wolves, and the bodyguards were almost done with their meals. They all stood up, more than 10 li away from the street. A luxurious carriage streaked across the sky. The carriage was pulled by 8 purple gold dragon beasts, and there were dozens of beautiful maids surrounding the carriage. Wherever he passed, even the cultivators on the streets would move to the side, not daring to look up, because those who lived slightly longer in Ardent Fire City knew that this carriage belonged to the Misty Cloud Pavilion Master, Chun Yufeng. Being the owner of the biggest money-squandering establishment in Ardent Fire City, the Misty Cloud Pavilion, Chen Yufeng's status was naturally extremely high. He was definitely an influential figure in Ardent Fire City. Even those aristocratic clan descendants wouldn't dare to offend him, let alone the commoners. Inside the luxurious carriage, the outside of the carriage was only about 10 feet wide, but the inside was more than 100 feet wide. Two chubby men sat opposite each other, both of them being served by beauties. A plump man was naturally Chen Yufeng. His face was filled with smiles, making people feel as though they were bathing in the spring breeze. As for the other plump man, he was relatively tall and big. He was emitting a faint, terrifying and austere aura. As he breathed, there was a faint black aura coming out from his nose, causing the beauties beside him to tremble in fear. "Brother Qian, I'll have to trouble you this time to give me more goods," Chen Yufeng complained. "I don't have enough goods. My days are tough too. There aren't many goods. This distribution is something that offends others," that plump man nonchalantly said. "I know Brother Qian isn't having an easy life too. Naturally, I won't mistreat Brother Qian," Chen Yufeng passionately said. "There's no rush." That plump man remained indifferent. Yes. Come. Have a taste of this heavenly dawn spirit wine. This is a fine wine brewed by our king after he left the realm Heart Great Land and discovered the heavenly dawn god tree in the surrounding primal chaos stars. It is rare for me to get my hands on some." Chen Yufeng waved his hand, and a translucent wine flask appeared in front of him. Through the wine flask, one could see the wine liquid that was suffused with green light rippling inside. This wine flask directly flew to the table in front of that obese and huge man. "Oh, heavenly dawn spirit wine?" Only then did the plump man reveal a grin. Good wine. That plump man seemed relatively satisfied. As he drank, he looked outside. This carriage was sealed, but those outside could not see into the carriage. Nevertheless, those inside could easily see the scenery outside. Enjoying the service of beauties and drinking the wine, this plump man revealed a grin. Suddenly his expression changed slightly. That is, the plump man saw a pair of commoners on the distant street. That woman was merely a true god. Yet there were faint red god imprints revolving in the eyes of the plump man. He could not help but feel delighted in his heart. The spiritual light emitted by this soul is so dense. It is truly a good guiding medicine. TSK. I was lucky enough to discover it. "Stop," the plump man said. "Quickly stop." Chen Yufeng shouted. The carriage rapidly stopped. Only then did Chen Yufeng smile. "Brother Qian, what's the matter?" "That woman." The plump man pointed to the distant street. "She is wearing a violet robe and has a jade hairpin on her head." Saying that, he could not help but condense the illusory figure of a woman by the side. "I want this woman," the plump man said. Chen Yufeng looked from afar. He was extremely well informed in Ardent Fire City. There were not many aristocratic clan disciples, but there were only so many of them. He recognized all of them. With a single glance, he could ascertain that the origin of that woman was very ordinary. Even if she came from an aristocratic clan, she was merely a true god and had a low status. "Brother Qian, rest assured, I will immediately capture her." Chen Yufeng chuckled. The plump man nodded. He was an outsider, and it was not suitable for him to do such a thing. However, it was very simple for Chen Yufeng to do such a thing. Yen Wen and his daughter had long seen that luxurious carriage in the distant sky. They recognized that it belonged to the Misty Cloud Pavilion master, and naturally moved to the side of the road. However, the carriage swooped down and stopped not too far away from them. On the carriage, the curtain of the carriage opened, revealing two plump men who were being served by many beauties. Among them, the Misty Cloud Pavilion's master, Chen Yufeng, was looking downwards. His pair of small eyes were looking downwards, but they were very cold. His gaze landed on Yen Wen and his daughter. "Bring that woman over." Yes. The female attendants outside the carriage had extraordinary strength. Instantly, two Unity Realm female attendants flew down. "Spare my life, Misty Cloud Pavilion Master, spare my daughter." That middle-aged man, Yen Wen, hurriedly knelt down and begged. "I am a pill master of the Yin clan's medicinal hall. Please give me some face. The girl Yin Yu also knelt down in fear. Humph. Chun Yufeng snorted coldly. He coldly glanced at Yen Wen and his daughter, and was too lazy to speak. Yen Wen was extremely terrified, and his heart was in a mess. He was very clear. Even though the master of their medicinal hall had some status, he did not dare to utter a word in front of the Misty Cloud Pavilion master, let alone a pill master like him. Father. Yin Yu was also anxious and terrified. What would be the outcome if she fell into the hands of the Misty Cloud Pavilion master? If she was lucky, she would only be toyed with by the customers of the Misty Cloud Pavilion. If she was unlucky, she would probably lose her life. Shua. A figure appeared. It was a gray-robed old man. This gray-robed old man appeared in front of the kneeling Yen Wen and his daughter. Waving his hand, Hong. A void ripple blasted on the bodies of those two Unity Realm female attendants who were rushing down. Those two female attendants were immediately forced back. Tianiji? Misty Cloud Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng looked down with a cold gaze. When he saw that gray-robed old man, he could not help but frown. He recognized that was the honored guest of Marquis Ardent Fire, Tianiji. At this moment, a carriage arced through the sky and flew over. There was a handsome young man seated on the carriage with two black stream cloud wolves, lying in front of him. Behind him were 9 cold and stern personal guards. Pavilion Master Chun Yu, why? You are even thinking of snatching my female attendants? The handsome young man sat there. He extended his hand and caressed the smooth back fur of the huge black stream cloud wolves. He indifferently said. His voice reverberated in midair. Many cultivators on the surrounding streets did not dare to utter a word. Prince Snow Eagle? A smile appeared on the face of Pavilion Master Chun Yu. He merely frowned slightly as he looked at the plump male beside him. The gaze of that plump male was cold. He looked at Dongbua Shueying, who was seated on the carriage. Dongbua Shueying was similarly looking at that plump male. Chapter 10:23. Yen Wen and his daughter knelt there. They held their breaths. They were both excited and frightened. They could not help but look at the two carriages pulled by the dragon beasts in midair. One carriage was luxurious with Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng and the mysterious plump male on it. The other carriage had that Yingshan Snow Eagle little prince, who was currently caressing the fur of the black stream cloud wolf. Father. Yin Yu transmitted to her father. Rest assured, rest assured. The status of Prince Snow Eagle is extraordinary. Since he has spoken, that Pavilion Master Chun Yu will definitely give him some face. Yen Wen transmitted a message to comfort his daughter, though he was feeling uneasy in his heart. Many cultivators on the street had already retreated to the two sides. Even though they did not dare to make any noise, they were still watching the situation unfold. The two parties clashing above. They were absolutely big characters in the entire Ardent Fire City. One party controlled the biggest money-squandering den, and had many subordinates under him. His influence was huge. The other party was the Yingshan clan's little prince Snow Eagle, who was doted on by many. Old Mother Yingshan regarded him highly. Prince Snow Eagle, is it possible for you to part with this female attendant of yours? Chun Yufeng smiled. He was very passionate. I'll naturally not let Prince Snow Eagle suffer a loss. You know she is mine, yet you still want to snatch her away. Dongbua Shueying sat there and casually said. Chun Yufeng's expression froze. She was just a little girl, yet she did not give him any face at all. If this Prince Snow Eagle little prince was deliberately finding trouble with him to obtain some benefits, Chun Yufeng would still be willing to give some benefits to the other party. Who would have thought that this Snow Eagle little prince was really foolish enough to stand up for a weak little girl? Chun Yufeng glanced at the plump male by the side. I hope for you to help me capture this girl. I'll definitely remember this favor of Brother Chun Yu. The matter of the goods can be discussed too. The plump male transmitted. Chun Yufeng felt bitter in his heart. Clearly, Brother Qian was not willing to give up. Brother Qian, this Prince Snow Eagle little prince is too young and tender. This kind of greenhorn is the hardest to deal with. Chun Yufeng transmitted. With Brother Chun Yu's status in the Ardent Fire City, can't you do this? The plump hunk transmitted. AI, this is ultimately the Ardent Fire City. and the status of Marquis Ardent Fire cannot be shaken. Furthermore, this little Prince Snow Eagle has said that she is his female attendant. It was my fault for trying to snatch it forcefully. If things get out of hand, I won't be able to gain any advantage, Chen Yufeng said. Robbing civilians, killing 1 or 2 civilians. Given how vast the Ardent Fire City was, with billions and billions of cultivators within, it was indeed a small matter. Even according to the law, if a noble descendant committed such a crime, he would only be fined some universe crystals. But in reality, as long as they didn't make a big deal out of it, and the number of robberies and killings weren't many, there wouldn't be any punishment. After all, the punishment for robbing a commoner wasn't much. If there were thousands or tens of thousands of robbers, and the punishment was severe, even the nobles wouldn't be able to handle it. Still not coming up? Let your father go back first. Dongbo Shuang couldn't be bothered to waste any more time with them. He ordered. Elder Tian immediately extended his hand and pulled that girl. At the same time, he transmitted to this father-daughter pair. Follow the prince first. As for you as a father, if you want to see your daughter, you can visit the marquisdom. Hurry up and go, Yanwen hurriedly urged. Amen. The daughter Yinyu acknowledged. South, Elder Tian pulled this girl and flew over to the side of Dongbo Shuiying's carriage. She obediently stood by the side of Dongbo Shuiying like a female attendant. Go. Dongbo Shuiying was too lazy to even look at Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng. The 2 dragon beasts let out a roar. They immediately pulled the carriage and arced through the sky. Only the carriage of Misty Cloud Pavilion Master remained there. Wah! Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng closed the curtains. He looked at the sullen plump male and advised. This little prince is too young, and his way of doing things is rude and unreasonable. But we are in the wrong in this matter, and we can't win against him. It's useless even if I tried to stop him. If I dared to act, the army of the Ardent Fire Marquisdom would kill their way over. Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng let out a sigh of relief. After all, Dongbo Shuiying had left so decisively that Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng did not need to say anything else. Humph. The plump male had a sullen expression. A black aura flowed on the surface of his body as he coldly said, Let's go to the Misty Cloud Pavilion first. Good. Chen Yufeng answered. Hua! Very soon, this luxurious carriage began flying towards the Misty Cloud Pavilion. The father of that girl, Yanwen, who was left behind, let out a sigh of relief when he saw this. Even though he guessed that the other party would not be angry at him for failing to snatch his daughter away. After all, from the looks of it, Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng did not wish to shed all pretense of cordiality with the little Prince Snow Eagle. Fortunately, Prince Snow Eagle appeared. Otherwise, we would be in deep trouble. He sighed inwardly. Even though there were many cultivators in the Ardent Fire City, and with the fines as punishment, aristocratic marquises would rarely kill or plunder, he still felt despair when it happened to him. But living within the city was better than living outside the city. Outside the city was a true chaotic world of slaughter. True gods and ordinary void gods like them would not be able to survive for long outside before being killed. Little Prince Snow Eagle is really formidable. He actually did not give any face to the Misty Cloud Pavilion Master. Why would little Prince Snow Eagle care about that Misty Cloud Pavilion Master? With the talent of little Prince Snow Eagle, he will definitely have a bright future. He might even become a conferred marquis in the future. Right, he will become a conferred marquis. He will naturally be different from other aristocratic marquises. The surrounding cultivators continued walking. They were discussing in groups of 2s and 3s. To them, this was practically a clash between the top existences in the Ardent Fire City. As for the higher existences, it was likely only Marquis Ardent Fire and Chen Yue. On the carriage, Dongbo Shuiying sat there. The female attendant Yinyu said gratefully, Many thanks, Prince Snow Eagle, for saving my life. I've spoken, yet that Misty Cloud Pavilion Master still wants to snatch you away. It seems that it is the intention of his companion. He has a strong desire to snatch you away. Dongbo Shuiying nonchalantly said. In the future, you will temporarily be my female attendant. Without the protection of this identity, You will likely be snatched away very soon. Yes, Ying Yu answered. She had also discovered that the plump male beside Pavilion Master Chun, Yufeng, was looking at her with a cold and greedy gaze. Elder Tian, investigate who was on the carriage with Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng today, Dongbo Shuang said. He shouldn't be someone from the Ardent Fire City. I'll get the Marquis to investigate after returning, Tianiji added. Dongbo Shuang nodded. He could see with a glance that the aura of that plump male was relatively evil. Furthermore, he did not seem to care about Chun Yufeng. But he was ultimately at the Unity Realm. Dongbo Shuang did not place him in his eyes. Currently, he had already cultivated the 4th and 5th style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Those 2 styles were at the 6th level strength. As for the 7th level strength, if he had the 7th level strength, he could directly become a conferred Marquis. Hence, even though Dongbo Shuang had cultivated for 8,000 years, he had reached an extremely high level in the Ardent Fire City. Very soon, the carriage arrived at the region of the Treasured Goods Market. There were many shops in the entire Treasured Goods Market. These shops were selling pills, materials, weapons, and all sorts of rare and precious treasures of varying grades. Like in the Primal Chaos Void and 5 Great Sacred Worlds where he came from, such transactions were usually monopolized by the Holy Grounds. But it was different in the Realm Heart Great Land. All sorts of transactions were more flourishing here. The entire Treasured Goods Market was even operated by a huge array, preventing anyone from snatching away any weapons or treasures from any shop in the Treasured Goods Market. Prince Snow Eagle, it has been a long time since you came. Prince Snow Eagle, please come in. Following the arrival of Dongbo Shuang, the managers of various shops were extremely enthusiastic, because in the thousands of years after he was born, other than enjoying eating all sorts of delicacies, his other favorite hobby was to stroll around the Treasured Goods Market. He would stroll around the shops and observe the refinement of various weapons. He even saw some items that came out from ancient ruins. These allowed Dongbo Shuang to discover different kinds of profound mysteries from them. Dongbo Shuang came to a relatively huge shop. Just as he entered, he saw a spear emitting an ancient and brutal aura floating at the center of the shop. Amen. When Dongbo Shuang saw that spear and sensed that aura, his eyes could not help but brighten. Prince Snow Eagle, you have a good eyesight, the manager by the side said enthusiastically when he saw that. Star. Chapter 1024. Let me take a look. Dongbo Shuang directly said, interrupting the long speech that the manager was about to give. Please, please, the manager said. Only then did Dongbo Shuang extend his hand to grab this spear. The surface of the spear was covered with many vein patterns, and it felt comfortable holding onto the spear body. Pulling the spear body became like a dragon. It even let out a faint cry. The manager muttered inwardly when he saw that. This little Prince Snow Eagle seems to know spear techniques? Dongbo Shuang held onto the end of the spear body with his left hand. His right hand slowly caressed the spear body. A sense of familiarity filled his heart. Before reincarnating, he primarily cultivated the Tao of Mirage, and the Mirage and Illusory realm was not suitable for close combat. Hence, he chose to use the spear in close combat in the past. Eventually he gave up on it. But in the Realm Heart Great Land, Dongbo Shuang decided to cultivate 2 Tao paths. One was still the Tao of Mirage and Illusory realm, since he was talented in this aspect. And the other was the Tao of Void. After all, he originally had deep accumulations. He had obtained the inheritance of Void Primogenitor and Monarch 9 Cloud. He also had the opportunity to observe and comprehend the scaled armor of General Mogu. Furthermore, he had spent 1 trillion years in the Lost World Corridor. With all these foundations, and during the teleportation of the Realm Heart Order, Shuang felt another way of using the Void. In addition, he had joined the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion in the Realm Heart Great Land. Hence, he naturally cultivated 2 Tao paths. And the Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles was a close combat absolute art. Most cultivators could use their bodies as weapons, but they could use other weapons too. In this life, I shall use the spear again, Dongbo Shuang thought. Wang, Following that, his consciousness permeated into the spear in his hand. Previously, it was the aura of the spear that attracted him. This time, he wanted to investigate it more thoroughly. As his consciousness permeated the spear, Dongbua Shuiying could vaguely see an enormous black maelstrom staircase. As the staircase went deeper, space became more mysterious and unfathomable. The void in the realm Heart Great Land was similar to the void in the origin world where he came from. Therefore, Dongbua Shuiying was able to completely understand this profound mystery. As Dongbua Shuiying continued his exploration, he could sense that the spiral staircase was getting deeper and faster, and the patterns on the spear shaft were lighting up. Suddenly, everything shattered. Dongbo Snow Eagle frowned as he looked at the spearhead. The shaft of the spear was a very simple gray, but the spearhead was a deep purple spearhead that was suffused with a bloody and ruthless aura. The spearhead isn't part of the spear? Dongbua Shuiying asked. Young Master Snow Eagle has a good eye. The manager by the side added. We've invited an expert to appraise it. This secret treasure weapon should be refined by a cosmos god. This spearhead is added later on, but it is sufficiently tyrannical. Dongbua Shuiying shook his head. Fierce and domineering? This spear shaft, and the original spearhead, should be able to use this to unleash an extremely terrifying void killer move. Furthermore, it was absolutely a move at the cosmos god level. Furthermore, this usage of the void was something Dongbua Shuiying had never seen before. If it were a complete spear, Dongbua Shuiying felt that it would be worth it even if he exchanged the entire Ardent Fire Marquisdom for it. It's a pity that only the spear shaft was left, and its value was greatly reduced. Even though the spearhead was added later on, it was ordinary. Young Master Snow Eagle, the manager said, this secret treasure weapon lacks a spearhead, yet the spearhead that was added has been used for 1 trillion years. Its power is extraordinary. More importantly, it is cheap. It only costs 12 million cosmos crystals. He stared at Dongbua Shuiying. 12 million cosmos crystals. The number of people in the entire Ardent Fire City who could afford it could be counted with 2 hands. This little Prince Snow Eagle, who was rumored to be highly regarded by old Mother Ying Shan, should be able to afford it. 12 million cosmos crystals? Elder Tian Iji shouted from the side. Do you know how much 12 million cosmos crystals is? It is enough to buy a complete secret treasure weapon. There were many cosmos gods in the realm Heart Great Land. Hence, secret treasures and weapons were more commonly seen than in the primal chaos void and 5 great sacred worlds. Dongbua Shuiying watched from the side. Price. Based on his previous attainments in the void aspect, this spear had an extraordinary origin. Just the spear shaft was worth at least 100 million cosmos crystals. Most likely, this shop should not have invited a primal chaos giant in the Tao of Void to look at it. Otherwise, it was impossible for the other party to offer such a price. But Dongbua Shuiying would not easily agree to the price the other party offered, because he only had 15 million cosmos crystals on him. In terms of wealth, he would most likely be ranked in the top 3 in the Ardent Fire Marquisdom, of which 8 million cosmos crystals were bestowed by Old Mother Ying Shan. 2 million cosmos crystals were bestowed by Marquis Ardent Fire. Marquis Ardent Fire then gave him cavern dwellings, shops, land and other resources. Those cavern dwellings, shops and other resources could also be rented. Most aristocratic clan disciples could live a luxurious life precisely because they had some cavern dwellings and shops, allowing them to earn cosmos crystals continuously. Even though it was little, one had to know that a single cosmos crystal was worth 10,000 upper-grade primal chaos stones. Dongbua Shuiying was naturally confident of himself. He did not think that he had to rely on his cavern dwelling and shops to survive. Hence, he had long sold those to the Marquisdom for 5 million cosmos crystals. Currently, he only had a total of 15 million cosmos crystals. He was wealthier than many elders in the Marquisdom. Elder Tian, let's not talk about it anymore. 10 million cosmos crystals. This is the limit set by our master. That manager helplessly said. Prince Snow Eagle, honestly speaking, this spear was discovered by a group of cultivators who went out to explore the historical remains 15 years ago. They were fortunate to obtain this spear, and they even fought with each other. Eventually, only 2 of them managed to send this spear to me. Furthermore, they were assassinated in my shop by their companions, who went out to explore the historical remains. That time the commotion was huge. Prince Snow Eagle just had to order someone to investigate, and you would know of this case. My master also had plans. If he couldn't sell it in a short period of time, he would return to his clan's heavenly Ying city after a few million years. At that time, he would bring this spear to heavenly Ying city to sell. There would be more experts there, and more people who could afford it. Dongbo Shuang nodded slightly when he heard that. He believed that this story wasn't fake. After all, it was a case from 15 years ago, and he could easily investigate it. Alright, 10 million cosmos crystals. I'll buy it. Dongbo Shuang nodded. Good. The manager was overjoyed. His master was only a disciple of the Heavenly Ying clan, one of the 4 great clans. If he were to sell it here, his master would be able to benefit greatly. If he were to sell it in Heavenly Ying City, he would definitely be exploited by the clan. It's a profit. Master set the minimum price at 10 million. I thought that I wouldn't be able to sell it. When I bought it previously, I only spent 3 million cosmos crystals. The manager was very happy. He was already very satisfied that those who risked their lives to explore the historical remains were able to earn 3 million cosmos crystals. However, he didn't know. The true value of this seemingly broken secret treasure weapon with a spearhead was definitely over 100 million universe crystals. It's just that Marquis Ardent Fire, who did not specialize in the void, could only determine that it was a damaged secret treasure refined by a cosmos god. He could not understand how precious it was. Very soon, that disciple from the Heavenly Ying clan, Heavenly Ying Flowing Jade, personally rushed over and completed this transaction. Haha, Prince Snow Eagle. I'll be returning to Heavenly Ying City in a few days. If you were to visit Heavenly Ying City, you must inform me. I'll definitely receive you well. Heavenly Ying Flowing Jade was very happy. This shop was also one of the assets under his name. Previously, he spent 3 million cosmos crystals to buy this spear, and he had practically spent all his treasures. He even used some of the goods in the shop as collateral. Now that he had earned 7 million cosmos crystals, Heavenly Ying Flowing Jade felt that there was no longer a need for him to stay in Ardent Fire City. It was fine for him to arrange for his subordinates to stay here, and he could return to Heavenly Ying City. Heavenly Ying City had a cosmos god protecting it. It was much more flourishing than this place. Dongbo Shuang was in a good mood. He brought this spear back to the marquisdom before entering closed-door cultivation in the Void God Pagoda. Within the Void God Pagoda, sitting on a floating rock, caressing this ancient and savage spear in his hand, Dongbo Shuang was filled with joy. He recalled the time when he practiced the spear. This is a secret treasure weapon. Even cosmos gods can use it. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. In the future, you will have to accompany me for a very long time. Wang. The spear let out a cry. Being a secret treasure weapon, it naturally had a spirit. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. The feeling of using the spear once again made him happy. He then concentrated. It is time to break through to the Unity Realm. Chapter 1025. On the floating great rock surrounded by the spatial turbulence, Dongbo Shuang was completely focused. With the treasures given by Old Mother Shan and Marquis Ardent Fire to nourish his bloodline, the originally thin void bloodline had become much thicker. But it was still at the thin level. Nonetheless, Dongbo Shuang's realm was extremely high, and he was able to rapidly stimulate the void bloodline hibernating in his body. The void bloodline was stimulated on a deeper level. At that moment, it caused every particle in his body to transform. This was a direct breakthrough from the origin birth realm to the unity realm. As the level of his body rapidly rose, it was natural for him to frantically absorb the surrounding world energy. The Void God Pagoda was specifically used for cultivation, and it had formed a surging maelstrom black hole within. The surging world energy was gushing out from the maelstrom black hole and being absorbed by Shui Ying's body. After a moment, His body stepped into the unity realm. I can cultivate the Southern Cloud sacred body now. Dongbo Shuiying revealed a joyous look. The Southern Cloud sacred body was a supplementary body cultivation technique that came with its Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Previously, he did not dare to cultivate it because he would have to step into the unity realm if he wanted to. Hua hua hua! With a wave of his hand, a pile of deep green soil was placed on the great rock in front of him. Dongbo Shuiying displayed the Southern Cloud sacred body cultivation technique. The moment it was activated, this deep green soil began emitting many green light spots that entered the body of Dongbo Shuiying. This Southern Cloud sacred body was the apex body cultivation technique, even in the 6 great ancient nations. Its only flaw was that it was too extravagant. Absorbing the essence of many precious materials into his body would allow him to refine his body like a secret treasure weapon. Furthermore, it was relatively easier to refine a secret treasure weapon. His body would implicate his soul, and he had to be more careful during cultivation. The materials required were more stringent, and the price would naturally be higher. When I become stronger in the future, I'll still have to rely on myself to earn cosmos crystals. Relying on the gifts from Marquis Ardent Fire and Old Mother Ying is far from enough. Dongbo Shuiying understood this point. Marquis Ardent Fire was merely an ordinary primal chaos giant. How many treasures could he get? Old Mother Ying had many treasures, but how many could she give to her juniors? He still had to rely on himself. Naturally, it was sufficient to rely on the help from the Ying clan during the initial phase. This was the benefit of having a clan. For those without any background, they had to desperately obtain resources when they were weak. Without resources, the difficulty of cultivation would increase by 100 or even 1,000 times. For example, cultivating the laws and profound mysteries system was extremely difficult. Half a month later, Dongbo Shuiying exited the Void God Pagoda and looked up. Snowflakes were falling from the sky. It's snowing. Dongbo Shuiying was shocked. What? Tianyi looked at her young master in shock. The aura emitted by this handsome young man was already at the Unity Realm. Unity Realm? 8,000 years, just 8,000 years? Tianyi did not dare believe it. To Void Gods, 8,000 years was equivalent to a nap. It's been a long time since I've accompanied my mother. Elder Tian, let's go. Dongbo Shuiying said. Sigh. Tianyi hastily replied. The 2 black stream cloud wolves beside her were also somewhat stunned, but they hurriedly followed. Wang. The array that enveloped the huge marquisdom also sensed the aura of Dongbo Shuiying. The array spirit immediately reported this news to Marquis Ardent Fire. Marquis Ardent Fire sat under a pavilion by the lake. He was drinking by himself. Snowflakes were falling. Grandpa Marquis, a girl respectfully greeted. How is the matter regarding the secret treasure weapon? Marquis Ardent Fire indifferently asked. Have you been scammed? Previously, when he learned that Snow Eagle had spent 10 million cosmos crystals to purchase a secret treasure, he immediately thought that he had been scammed. Secret treasures that were qualified to be called secret treasures would usually cost at least 10 million cosmos crystals. How could a brat who was just 8,000 years old know about secret treasures? Marquis Ardent Fire became furious at that moment. He felt that someone might be so daring as to covet the cosmos crystals owned by Snow Eagle. That was why he set up a scheme to scam the other party. But knowing that it was a shop owned by a disciple from the Celestial Ying clan, Celestial Ying Flowing Jade, Marquis Ardent Fire was not in a rush to act. Instead, he ordered someone to investigate the matter thoroughly. The girl respectfully explained, that weapon is a spear. It was discovered by a few Unity Realm experts 15 years ago, when they were exploring historical remains. They had even killed each other. After that, they returned to the city and sold that spear to the Celestial Ying Flowing Jade shop for 3 million cosmos crystals. At that time, they were even assassinated by their companions who were fortunate enough to survive. At that time, the Ardent Fire army from our marquisdom had even sent troops to capture and interrogate them. Marquis Ardent Fire relaxed his eyebrows when he heard that. The shops in the treasured goods market were extremely stingy. They were willing to spend 3 million cosmos crystals to purchase it. Yingshan Snow Eagle had spent 10 million cosmos crystals to purchase it, and he did not lose much. As long as it was not a scheme, Marquis Ardent Fire would not interfere. The body of the spear is extraordinary. It's a pity that the original spearhead is missing, and it is a new spearhead. The girl said, that is why it is sold at such a price. Prince Snow Eagle should not suffer a loss. Amen. Marquis Ardent Fire nodded. Also, the guest of Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng, who had a conflict with Prince Snow Eagle on the street, has been investigated. The girl said, he is called Qiangan Shui. He isn't famous, and is only doing some shady business. Marquis Ardent Fire softly nodded. Being the biggest money-squandering establishment, the Misty Cloud Pavilion would naturally have some transactions that were not regulated by the law. Continue watching. Marquis Ardent Fire coldly ordered. He was the person with the highest authority in the Ardent Fire City. Some experts with unique origins would usually send someone to watch over them. Yes, the girl respectfully acknowledged. Marquis Ardent Fire picked up his wine cup and drank another cup. Suddenly his expression changed. Master, Prince Snow Eagle has broken through and reached the Unity Realm. A voice directly sounded by his ears. Who? Marquis Ardent Fire suddenly stood up, causing the girl by the side to be startled as she looked at her grandpa Marquis. Unity Realm? He has stepped into the Unity Realm? Marquis Ardent Fire was both startled and delighted. He excitedly muttered to himself. It has just been 8,000 years. He has reached the Unity Realm, just 8,000 years after being born. This speed was too terrifying. Under normal circumstances, it was normal for those who were born at the Origin Birth Realm to reach the Unity Realm after spending 10 million years. Old Ancestor is right. The eyes of Marquis Ardent Fire were emitting light. He was incomparably excited. This brat Snow Eagle has been forced to be born prematurely, but his potential is still huge, and it is possible for him to be excavated. Those bloodline nurturing treasures were truly the right thing to do. Even if it was a normal nurturing, this brat Snow Eagle should have been in the womb for several centuries, or more than 1,000 years, and he should be at the Unity Realm when he is born. Now he has spent a little more time, but it is merely 10 times more time. He has reached the Unity Realm in 8,000 years. Marquis Ardent Fire was very satisfied. In the history of the Southern Cloud Nation, the number of those who were born at the Unity Realm could be counted with one's fingers. All of them had easily reached the Primal Chaos Realm. There were even 2 who became conferred kings. Being born prematurely and reaching the Unity Realm in 8,000 years, it was merely 10 times longer than reaching the Unity Realm in 1,000 years. After all, being born prematurely has some influence. Marquis Ardent Fire could not help but grin. But the influence isn't too great. Ha ha ha. It seems that my Ardent Fire Marquisdom will have another Primal Chaos expert. Even though by then, Dongbua Shuang would definitely become a conferred Marquis and establish a Marquisdom, the relationship between him and Marquis Ardent Fire could not be changed. After all, Dongbua Shuang was considered part of the lineage of Marquis Ardent Fire. Strictly speaking, Marquis Ardent Fire was his grandfather. I have to inform Old Ancestor immediately. Marquis Ardent Fire immediately transmitted a message to Old Mother Yingshan. Chapter 1026. Dongbua Shuang was still accompanying his mother, Rong Xinglan, and his sister. They were chatting as they ate. Rong Xinglan was delighted too, because her son had entered closed-door cultivation for more than 6,000 years. It had been a long time since she saw her son. Her current status was noble. Naturally, with a single order, the female attendants brought out all sorts of delicacies. Even though cultivation is important, my son should not work too hard. Rong Xinglan chuckled. Mother might not know much, but she has read many books over the years. She knows that cultivating the heart is important too. If one wants to have a bright future, one has to cultivate the heart. My son is ultimately lacking in experience. Your son understands. Dongbua Shuang obediently answered. Rong Xinglan's smile became more radiant. She liked her son. Yet she did not dare to disturb him for fear of affecting his future. She could only watch from the side. But now her identity was different. She had many treasures, and relied on the bloodline cultivation system to easily become a true god. Without the great limit of her lifespan, she was naturally calmer. Snow Eagle. A voice reverberated in the surroundings. Rong Xinglan and Ying Shi were startled. Who dared to barge into the residence of Snow Eagle? Dongbo Shuang turned over too. One could see two figures flying down from midair. One was naturally Marquis Ardent Fire. He was obediently standing behind an old granny. That old granny was currently smiling at Dongbo Shuang. Marquis Ardent Fire roared. Why aren't you greeting old ancestor? Snow Eagle greets old ancestor. Dongbo Shuang immediately stood up and bowed. Rong Xinglan and Ying Shi were greatly startled when they heard that. There was only one person in the entire Yingshan clan who was qualified to be called Old Ancestor, and that was the famous Old Mother Yingshan across the entire southern Cloud Nation. The two of them immediately stood up from their chairs and knelt by the side. Stand up. Old Mother Yingshan waved her hand, causing Rong Xinglan and Ying Shi to stand up. Old Mother Yingshan then walked to a stool by the side and sat down. Marquis Ardent Fire stood by her side. Old Mother Yingshan then carefully observed Dongbo Shuang. This little fellow that looked like a teenager. He was still very young, but he was already at the Unity Realm. Huolai did not manage a marquisdom properly, causing you to be born prematurely. Old Mother Yingshan chuckled. Fortunately, you reached the Unity Realm in 8,000 years. Although there are some effects of being born early, the effect isn't too great. Fortunately, we have the treasures that Old Ancestor and Marquis gave us. Dongbo Shuang said. Those are just external objects. In the end, it's your own extraordinary potential. Old Mother Yingshan waved her hand, causing a bracelet to fly over. Properly cultivate. With your talent, it isn't hard for you to reach the primal chaos realm. I hope that one day, the king will personally bestow upon you the title of king. If you want to be conferred the title of king, just relying on your bloodline isn't enough. You also need to cultivate your mind, temper yourself, and accumulate your strength. Marquis Ardent Fire sighed as he listened. Conferred kingship? One had to pass the 9th level of the Divine Yuan Palace to be qualified to be conferred the title of king. Old Mother Yingshan nodded. She was merely raising a high request. She felt that it should not be a problem for her to reach the primal chaos realm. At most, she would have to spend a little more time. As for being conferred the title of king, it was truly difficult. The requirements for one's mental state were also extremely high. No matter how noble one's bloodline was, it had nothing to do with one's mental state. Ultimately, one had to temper himself. It wasn't easy for Dongbo Shuang to reach the My Heart as the world realm in his previous life. Snow Eagle will naturally work hard. Dongbo Shuang nodded. He received the wristband and immediately refined it. After inspecting it, his heart could not help but leap. There was a small mountain of cosmos crystals. With a sweep of his consciousness, he ascertained that there were a total of 50 million cosmos crystals. Such a huge sum. Properly cultivate. Also, cosmos crystals are precious. In the future, you have to be prudent when purchasing treasures. Marquis Ardent Fire also threw over a storage wristband. Dongbo Shuang naturally received it. Inspecting it, he found that there were 8 million cosmos crystals within. Adding up, Marquis Ardent Fire had given him a total of 15 million cosmos crystals. To Marquis Ardent Fire, this was a huge burden. Dongbo Shuang naturally accepted it. As a disciple of the Yingshan clan, he was willing to accept this benefit. In the future, he would also bear the responsibility. This was also what Old Mother Yingshan and Marquis Ardent Fire were looking forward to. What? Old Mother Yingshan has such luck? Of her descendants, there is one who reached the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years? Teacher, I've heard that the child called Snow Eagle was forced to be born prematurely, after just 15 years in the womb. The Yingshan clan immediately gave a large amount of bloodline nourishing treasures to that little fellow, allowing him to reach the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years. The Yingshan clan will have another marquis in the future. That granny from the Ying Shan clan should be smiling till her mouth is crooked. The various superpowers in the southern cloud nations soon learned of this news. They had also memorized the name Ying Shan Snow Eagle, because this name was destined to become a king. And within the ardent fire city, Chan Yuyin Jun, who had always been hiding in the residence arranged by her son, was even more stunned when she heard the news. What? The son of that lowly servant reached the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years? He will almost certainly become a conferred marquis in the future? What should I do? What should I do? Will he bear a grudge and kill me after becoming a conferred marquis? Amidst the vast rolling black clouds, there was a vague ancient palace. Within the palace, a tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn sat cross-legged there. The surface of his body was surrounded by a cold black aura. That little fellow called Ying Shan Snow Eagle you mentioned, is he a disciple of the Ying Shan clan's ardent fire marquisdom? The tall and sturdy figure with the black curved horn said with a deep voice. His pair of blood eyes looked downwards. Teacher, this disciple will not be mistaken. Strictly speaking, Ying Shan Snow Eagle is the son of the second son of Marquis Ardent Fire, Ying Shan Lai Hu. A red-robed male respectfully answered. Marquis Ardent Fire? The tall and sturdy figure with the black curved horn said with a deep voice. Who would have thought that he would be so lucky? The red-robed male obediently did not dare to say anything. He was clear how deep the hatred between his teacher and Marquis Ardent Fire was. He was also responsible for collecting all intelligence regarding Marquis Ardent Fire. Within the Ardent Fire City, within the Misty Cloud Pavilion. The Misty Cloud Pavilion was vast. It was shrouded in clouds, making it seem like a land of dreams. In one of the more secluded mansions, who would have thought that Prince Snow Eagle has reached the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years? The plump male sat there, allowing the beauties beside him to serve him and feed him fruits. His expression was gloomy. He had never given up. He had always wanted to snatch that girl called Ying Yu into his hands. That was the guiding medicine that he had been dreaming of. Chen Yufeng, that trash. The plump male gritted his teeth. Chen Yufeng had previously agreed to think of a way, but after he followed Dongbua Shui Ying and broke through to the Unity Realm, Chen Yufeng immediately rejected the idea. He expressed that he did not dare to participate. After all, how could he offend an existence who would definitely become a conferred marquis in the future? Chen Yufeng was not that foolish. Amen. The plump male was suddenly stunned. Everyone retreat. The plump male stood up. Yes. The surrounding beauties obediently retreated. The plump male rapidly entered the meditation room of this residence. The meditation room was very safe, and it isolated any external scouting. The plump male was even carrying treasures that would affect the scouting. Wang. At that moment, an illusory figure appeared by the side of the plump male. It was a tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn shrouded in black fog. Qiangan Shui greets master. The plump male immediately knelt down. He prostrated himself on the ground with great respect. Do you know of Ying Shan Snow Eagle? That disciple from the Ying Shan clan, who reached the Unity Realm at the age of 8,000? The tall and sturdy figure with the black curved horn said with a cold voice. I know. The plump male immediately answered. I'll allow you to mobilize the manpower in the surrounding 12 cities. You can use all the cosmos crystals in your hands to kill that Ying Shan Snow Eagle with the fastest speed. The tall and sturdy figure with the black curved horn coldly said. Killing Shan Snow Eagle? The plump male was slightly startled. The tall and sturdy figure with the black curved horn looked down at him. The plump male replied. Yes, yes. Master, please be rest assured. I'll definitely do my best. Don't disappoint me. Otherwise, you know the consequences. The voice of the tall and sturdy figure with the black curved horn was calm, yet it made the plump male tremble uncontrollably. That was terror. Terror that originated from the bottom of his heart. Yes, yes, I'll definitely kill him. The plump male added. Marquis Ardent Fire. The blood-colored eyes of the tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn were filled with dense killing intent. Since I can't kill you, I'll eliminate the future primal chaos experts from your marquisdom first. You will definitely be so angry that you will go mad, haha. That figure gradually dissipated. Only then did the plump male stand up. He gulped and suppressed the anxiety in his heart. He began thinking rapidly. He knew it was impossible for him to go against his master. The consequences of going against his master made him tremble in fear. Fortunately, that Yingshan Snow Eagle has just reached the Unity Realm. Currently, he should only have the strength of a God Yuan Palace first or second level expert. He isn't worth mentioning. The only troublesome thing is that the Ardent Fire Marquisdom will definitely do its best to protect him. The plump male gritted his teeth. Master has allowed me to mobilize the manpower in the surrounding 12 cities. I can even use this batch of money? Amen. I have to think of a foolproof method. It is fine if I don't act, but the moment I act, I must not give him a chance. If that Snow Eagle Prince doesn't die, I'll die. Chapter 1027. For the sake of survival, the fat man Qiangan Shui began to prepare his assassination plan. He even spared no expense in spending cosmos crystals to make all sorts of preparations, buying poison, and even inviting assassins from the Black Devil Great Lake. His preparations became more and more thorough, and he even prepared several assassination plans. But what made him dumbfounded was, ever since that little Prince Snow Eagle from the Ardent Fire Marquisdom bought that secret treasure spear and returned to the Marquisdom, he had not come out at all. I don't believe it. He's just a little guy who was just born not long ago. His temperament is still unsettled. How can he calm down and cultivate? He will definitely come out again. Qiangan Shui anxiously waited. 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years. Qiangan was stunned. The master behind him was equally shocked. In their opinion, no matter how noble one's bloodline was, one's temperament still needed to be tempered before it would gradually become more and more extraordinary. Only then would one be able to calm down and go into seclusion for hundreds of thousands, or even millions of years. How could there be such a young fellow in seclusion for such a long time? Master, he's not coming out, what do we do? Qiangan Shui anxiously reported to his master. Wait, could it be that your patience is inferior to that of a little fellow? Yes. Qiangan Shui also let out a breath of relief. His master was wise, and did not force him to enter the manor to assassinate him. After all, the Marquis's mansion was heavily guarded. Even if his master wanted to enter, he would probably fail. Marquis Ardent Fire, and his mother Rong Xinglan, had also advised Dongbo Shuiying that cultivating the heart was important, and there was no need for him to bury himself in cultivation. Although Dongbo Shuiying agreed verbally, in reality, he had the appearance of a cultivation maniac. Each time he went into closed-door cultivation, it would last for hundreds of thousands of years, or even millions of years. Just a few days after he came out, he would immediately go back into closed-door cultivation. There was no other way. In the end, Dongbo Shuiying was not a young fellow. He was the reincarnation of his true spirit, and his mental state had reached the my heart as the world level. Moreover, he was a great expert who had created 2 9th-level techniques in the most difficult system of laws and profound mysteries. With his temperament, it was very easy for him to go into seclusion for 10 billion years at a time. As for tempering one's character, was there going to be another love-hate entanglement? Inconsolable grief to temper his so-called temperament? Dongbo Shuiying was not in the mood for that. Fortunately, there were some cultivation maniacs among the countless cultivators, so he could only pretend to be one of them. In the blink of an eye, 5 million years had passed. Ardent Fire Marquisdom, within the residence of Snow Eagle Prince. Rumble, the door of the Void Divine Pagoda opened. A handsome young man in white walked out. It was drizzling, but when the young man in white walked out, the rain naturally avoided him when it was 1 foot away from him. Young master. Young master. The guards and servants who were standing guard outside hurriedly greeted respectfully. Very soon, the entire mansion became lively. Tian Iji, the 2 black stream cloud wolves, and the 9 personal guards rushed over as well. By the time they arrived, Dongbo Shuiying had already arrived at a nearby lake. There was a pavilion by the side of the lake. There was a praying mat placed within the pavilion. Dongbo Shuiying sat cross-legged on it. By the side, his female attendant Yen, Yu was respectfully placing the wine on the table. She was also helping to warm up the wine flask. Yu curiously looked at her young master. Young master's birth is extraordinary, but I've never seen him like any girls. He has also never gone to the Misty Cloud Pavilion to enjoy himself. He treats others peacefully, and has always been cultivating. No wonder some cultivators are so heaven-defying. My birth can't be compared to that of young master, yet I still love to play and enjoy myself. Yet young master is so hardworking. Yu thought. Who? Dongbo Shuang extended his right hand. A spear appeared in his hand. He placed it flat on his knees. Being a secret treasure weapon, just the tyrannical aura contained within the spearhead made the female attendant Yu feel stifled. Wang. A formless wave emanated from the spear. It was as though a stone had been thrown into a calm lake, creating countless ripples. The formless wave emanating from the spear was extremely subtle. It easily permeated the surrounding void. The void was completely controlled. In the distance, Tian Iji, the black stream cloud wolf, and his personal guards were all rushing over. Tian Iji was a 5th stage expert in the Divine Yuan Palace, and could even teleport. Even with his acute perception of the void, he didn't realize that the surrounding void was being controlled. Dongbo Shuang sat cross-legged. He was like a spider controlling a spider web. The surrounding void was being controlled. In fact, the void around him was beginning to distort. The distortions were very minute. It was hard to detect them even when they were right in front of one's eyes. Only when one's body touched them would one feel something special. Hua hua hua, countless raindrops scattered down. Numerous tiny spatial distortions shifted the raindrops from one location to several kilometers away. The raindrops that were several kilometers away were shifted to another location. Countless raindrops were shifted due to the spatial distortions. However, even though the raindrops were shifted, they were connected seamlessly. It was as though none of the raindrops had shifted. The rain continued to fall. Prince Tian Iji, the 2 black stream cloud wolves, and the 9 personal guards came to the side of the pavilion. As Dongbo Shuang was controlling the void to avoid them, Tian Iji and the others did not notice him even though they were several meters away. If other primal chaos existences were to discover this, they would be dumbfounded. Dongbo Shuang held onto a cup of wine and continued to control the spatial distortions. He was still manipulating the countless minute distortions in the void. The more he manipulated, the more satisfied he was. Buying this spear is really worth it. These 5 million years, Dongbo Shuang was also concentrating on cultivating. Because the Tao of void of the 2 origin worlds was relatively similar, he had reached the primal chaos realm not long ago in terms of the laws and profound mysteries system. As for the bloodline breakthrough, he could have reached the primal chaos realm a long time ago. It's just that this breakthrough was too fast. No matter how talented he was, he had to be within the normal category of a genius. Even though he remained at the unity realm on the surface, he had never stopped researching and comprehending the void. As his realm increased, he began researching the spear. Probing the spear body, it was like seeing a distorted black maelstrom staircase. Every level of the staircase was intersecting with different voids. Dongbo Shuang cultivated the opposite Tao. If he were the core of this maelstrom, he could influence the surrounding chaotic void. And this spear body originally contained such a technique. Even though it lacked the spearhead, causing the profound mysteries contained within this secret treasure to be lacking, it was sufficient for Dongbo Shuang. With his deep foundation, he could comprehend a domain control technique from within. The moment he did so, he was qualified to be considered a God Yuan Palace 7th level technique. More importantly, if he relied on the spear body to execute it, even though he had yet to comprehend many things, it would be taxing for him to execute it. But by relying on the spear body to execute it, its power would explode, and it could be considered a God Yuan Palace 8th level technique. An 8th level domain technique. More importantly, the technique contained within this spear body is at the Cosmos God level. Currently, I have merely seen through a tiny bit of it. Dongbo Shuang felt satisfied because the void technique contained within this spear body was of a different direction from the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. It's a pity that I lack the spearhead. It is taxing for me to comprehend it. Dongbo Shuang sighed inwardly. Within the Void God Pagoda, he could display the violent side of this domain. But at this moment, under the pavilion by the lakeside, he was displaying the most minute aspect of this domain stealthily. The foundation of the realm Heart Great Land is much stronger than the primal chaos void. Over there, only Emperor Jiuyin, Void Primogenitor, and the mysterious Myriad Realm Tavern Master are considered formidable in the Tao of Void. And in the realm Heart Great Land, I have come into contact with the techniques left behind by two terrifying experts in this small place called Southern Cloud Nation. Dongbo Shuang sighed inwardly. One was created by Southern Cloud King, and the other was the original Tao of Void expert who refined this spear. Keep. With a thought, Dongbo Shuang moved. The domain was completely kept. The rain continued falling down just like before. Tian Ji, the female attendant Ying, and the protectors did not notice it at all. Dongbo Shuang was not worried about being discovered. Even Marquis Ardent Fire would have to rely on his own law domain before he could detect it. Otherwise, given how sensitive Marquis Ardent Fire was towards the void, it was impossible for him to detect it from a long distance. After all, strictly speaking, Dongbo Shuang was currently a great expert, not any weaker than Marquis Ardent Fire. Only when they fought would they know who was stronger. Chapter 1028. It's been 5 million years. I can announce to the public that I've reached the 5th level of the Yuanshan Palace. Relying on this, I can head to the Southern Cloud capital and obtain the complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Dongbo Shuang thought. As for the complete version where he could unleash 80% of his strength at the Unity realm and 10% of his strength at the Primal Chaos realm, Shuang still desired it. To others, it would be a waste even if they obtained it. After all, most 9th level experts could not reach it. But Dongbo Shuang was different. He had to get the absolute art that allowed him to unleash the power of the 10th level at the Primal Chaos realm. He had to admit that it was impossible for him to create this absolute art at the Primal Chaos realm. Actually, the majority of cosmos gods could not create absolute arts that could allow the Primal Chaos realm to unleash 10th level strength. There were very few who could create it in the realm Heart Great Land. My son, a passionate voice called out. Dongbo Shuang turned around. He saw Ying Shanlai and Rong Xinglan coming over together. Ying Shanlai was currently shouting out passionately. Even though he did not have a good impression of this father from the start, he still admired this Ying Shanlai. Over the past 5 million years, Ying Shanlai had always been coaxing Rong Xinglan, making her happy. Even if it was an intentional disguise, it could be coaxed for 5 million years, and he would still be able to treat it as the truth. At the very least, Rong Xinglan's feelings for her husband had deepened. Father, mother. Dongbo Shuang stood up. My son's cultivation is too tough. Even I, as a father, feel sorry for him. Ying Shanlai sighed. These words of his were spoken from his heart. Currently, who would not regard him, Ying Shanlai highly? Why? Wasn't it just because he had an incomparably talented son, who was destined to become a conferred marquis at the Primal Chaos realm? Ying Shanlai was proud of his son, thinking about how he enjoyed himself, and seeing how his son frequently entered closed-door cultivation. Ying Shanlai felt heartache. His son was working too hard. Snow Eagle, what your father said is right. You should go out more, and not always stay in seclusion. Rong Xinglan added. She was truly worried about her son. 5 million years. Her son had never liked a woman before. This was very abnormal. Do you like men? Not at all. Okay. I'll go out for a walk. I'll definitely go out for a walk. Dongbo Shuang said. He indeed wanted to go out for a walk. Furthermore, he wanted to go to the biggest city in the distant Southern Cloud Nation, the capital. He wanted to learn the complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Don't lie to me. Previously, you only agreed to it verbally, but you immediately went into closed-door cultivation. Rong Xinglan said. Lai Hu brings Snow Eagle out for a walk. All right. Yingshan Lai Hu nodded. Ever since his son broke through to the Unity Realm, his name had spread across the entire Southern Cloud Nation. Many aristocratic clans within the Southern Cloud Nation knew that the Yingshan clan had an additional talented young fellow. However, after attaining the Unity Realm, Dongbo Shuang never left the marquee residence. If he brought his son out of the mansion, it would definitely be very glorious. Yingshan Lai Hu still enjoyed the scenery. Very soon, Yingshan Lai Hu pulled Dongbo Shuang out of the marquee residence. They were still riding on that extravagant carriage of Yingshan Lai Hu. Dongbo Shuang's carriage was much simpler, while Yingshan Lai Hu's was more tyrannical. It was much more dazzling, causing many cultivators on the streets to not dare to look at it directly. There were even a total of 8 dragon beasts. Father, you even changed this carriage? Dongbo Shuang sat on the carriage with Yingshan Lai Hu sitting by the side. The carriage was huge, and it was very spacious for 2 people to sit on. Tian Yiji, the 9 personal guards, 2 black stream cloud wolves, the female attendant Yin Yu, and the servants and protectors of Yingshan Lai Hu were all on the carriage. Haha, my son is the famous Yingshan Snow Eagle. How can I sit on an ordinary carriage? Yingshan Lai Hu winked at Dongbo Shuang with delight. After buying this carriage, I still owe quite a lot of cosmos crystals. But I'm in no rush to repay them. Naturally, if my son is willing to help me repay them, that would be even better. Dongbo Shuang caressed the black stream cloud wolf lying by his side. He no longer looked at his father. Yingshan Lai Hu did not care when he saw that. He laughed out loud. Go, let's go to the Misty Cloud Pavilion. Ho, the 8 dragon beasts roared. The luxurious carriage arced through the sky and headed towards the Misty Cloud Pavilion. Going to the Misty Cloud Pavilion? Dongbo Shuang was startled. Tian Yiji, the female attendant Yin Yu, and the other protectors and servants could not help but turn to Yingshan Lai Hu. Bringing his son to visit the Misty Cloud Pavilion? I have to experience it, Yingshan Lai Hu said. My son hasn't been there before, right? That is the biggest entertainment ground in the Ardent Fire City. My son has cultivated for 5 million years, and he should have seen everything. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. He did not say anything else. Who? Prince Snow Eagle? Black Stream Cloud Wolf? Prince Snow Eagle is on it? That lucky Yingshan Lai Hu is bringing along Prince Snow Eagle? Everywhere they passed, there would be all sorts of discussions. Some who were more knowledgeable could still recognize Snow Eagle. Hearing the discussions, Yingshan Lai Hu, who sat on the carriage, laughed even more happily. Glorious, truly glorious. Very soon, they arrived at the Misty Cloud Pavilion. Sir Lai Hu, the attendants of the Misty Cloud Pavilion, came to welcome them with great familiarity. They could see a white-robed handsome young man seated beside Yingshan Lai Hu on the carriage. That handsome young man was gentle like jade, though they could not help but feel their hearts trembling when they saw him. Prince Snow Eagle? They were stunned. Prince Snow Eagle is here. Quick, Prince Snow Eagle is here. News spread rapidly within the Misty Cloud Pavilion. The entire place was in an uproar. This was a huge matter. Even though the Misty Cloud Pavilion was extraordinary, what kind of status did Prince Snow Eagle have? He was destined to become a conferred marquis at the Primal Chaos Realm. He would be ranked in the top 3 across the entire Ardent Fire City. The Southern Cloud Sacred Palace Hall Master Chun Yue did not dare to slight him. After all, Chun Yue was merely relying on his clan. He was still at the Unity Realm. Who would dare to slight someone who was destined to become a conferred marquis? I've waited for 1,000 to 10,000 years, and my eyes are getting tired from waiting. Finally, I can see Prince Snow Eagle. The plump pavilion master Chun Yufeng flew over like a gust of wind. He was incredibly passionate. Chun Yufeng, since my son is here today, all the expenses here will be paid by you. Yingshan Lai Hu said loudly. Rest assured, everything will be paid by me. Chun Yufeng laughed until the fat on his old face was trembling. Dongbo Shuang also chuckled and replied with a few simple sentences. Everyone was personally escorted by Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng into a huge palace hall. Under Chun Yufeng's arrangement, peerless beauties with innate charm that had never been touched by a man had already entered the stage, and started to sing and dance. Follow me, and I'll definitely not treat you badly. Here, take it first. Within that enormous palace hall, there were already many aristocratic clan disciples present. An aristocratic clan disciple was currently throwing a bag of cosmos crystals to the armored girl in front of him. That cold girl received this bag of cosmos crystals. She felt relatively excited in her heart. She had finally succeeded in relying on an aristocratic clan disciple as a guest. In the future, her days would be better, and her children would have resources to cultivate. Congratulations, Prince, for accepting another formidable female guest. The beauties by the side flattered. Haha, this aristocratic clan disciple laughed out loud. Suddenly, he looked to the distance with slight astonishment. At the entrance of the palace hall, Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng was incomparably passionate as he led the way. Ying Shanlai, who was carefree. Behind Ying Shanlai, who was a handsome white-robed young man with two black stream-cloud wolves by his side. There was also a gray-robed old man coldly following by the side. Prince Snow Eagle? This aristocratic clan disciple jumped in fright. His sitting posture became more reserved. Everyone be more careful. Don't offend that white-robed young man. This aristocratic clan disciple softly ordered the surrounding servants and protectors. If his subordinates were to offend the other party, he would be out of luck. Master, who is he? A favored female attendant softly asked. The female guest was curious too, because she discovered that the arrogant aristocratic clan disciples in the palace hall were much more reserved now. That is Prince Snow Eagle. Have you heard of him before? He is different from us. We aristocratic clan disciples are just idling around, but he is someone who is going to become a conferred marquis. Prince Snow Eagle? The female attendant and the female guest immediately understood. That handsome white-robed young man was the legendary Snow Eagle Prince of Ardent Fire City. Under the escort of Chun Yufeng and the others, including some aristocratic clan disciples with slightly higher statuses, Dongbua Shui Ying and his father finally sat at the host seat of the entire palace hall to enjoy the dance. The Misty Cloud Pavilion occupied a huge area. Within a residence, the plump male Qiangan Shui had always been staying here. His current most important mission was to assassinate that Snow Eagle Prince. If Snow Eagle Prince did not come out, he could only wait. After waiting for 5 million years, he was at a loss. How long would this Snow Eagle Prince take before he came out? Did he only know how to cultivate? Lord, Prince Snow Eagle is currently in the Misty Cloud Pavilion. His subordinate immediately transmitted the news. What? Qiangan Shui was greatly shocked. He came out, and he was even in the Misty Cloud Pavilion? I have to act immediately. Qiangan Shui's heart was racing. He was thinking rapidly. He understood that he had to grab hold of this opportunity. Otherwise, who knew when this Snow Eagle Prince would come out again after returning to the marquisdom? I must not panic. This assassination must succeed. Qiangan Shui's gaze turned cold. If he failed, he would die miserably. Hence, no matter how anxious he was, he had to think calmly. The plan had to be foolproof. Fortunately, he had made ample preparations. After pondering for a moment, he immediately gave the order to mobilize his subordinates. The operation was about to begin. Chapter 1029. Within a private room on the second floor of a restaurant that was slightly closer to the Misty Cloud Pavilion, good wine and dishes were placed on the table. Only Qiangan Shui was seated here. His plump body sat on a chair. It was rare that he did not bring along any beautiful female attendants. As he drank, he was looking outside the window. His gaze was focused in the direction of the Misty Cloud Pavilion. He was clear how important this assassination plan was. At least to him, it would decide his life and death. He would not allow himself to fail. I only have this one chance. If I fail this time, the entire Yingshan clan will be infuriated. It is impossible for me to find a second chance. Master will not give me another chance either. Qiangan Shui thought. Jia. The door to the private room was pushed open. A thin teenager walked in. This thin teenager had a faint aura of Unity Realm. He held a short blade in his hand. He was casually playing with it. When Qiangan Shui saw who came, his eyes brightened. He immediately stood up and greeted with a fawning tone. Brother Nian. Amen. The thin teenager casually sat down. The operation will begin in a while? Ever since I accepted this mission of yours, I have stayed in this ardent fire city for 5 million years. Brother Nian, you have worked hard. Currently, that brat is within the misty cloud pavilion, Qian Gonshui said. Chen Yufeng, Ying Shanlai Hu, and the others are accompanying that brat. The moment he comes out, it will be time for us to act. The entire place was isolated from the outside world. The conversation here could not be heard from the outside world. The thin teenager nodded. Rest assured. By then, I'll just kill that Yingshan snow eagle. Brother Nian, this matter concerns the life of this little brother. I'll have to rely on Brother Nian. Qiangan Shui could not help but say. I don't care about your life. Just remember to pay me 12 million cosmos crystals after the mission is completed, the thin teenager said. Qiangan Shui nodded. Definitely. The core of his plan this time was to invite this terrifying assassin from the Black Devil Great Lake, Nianjiu. He had to pay 8 million cosmos crystals to invite him. If the assassination failed, everything else could be forgotten. After the mission was completed, he would have to pay another 12 million cosmos crystals. In other words, this Nianjiu alone would have to pay 20 million cosmos crystals if he succeeded. And in reality, Qiangan Shui only had slightly more than 15 million cosmos crystals in total. For this assassination plan, he had already spent all the money. The 8 million cosmos crystals that he had paid in advance, as well as other means of preparation, had all been spent. He had even used up some of his own savings. If he succeeded, he would need to use up his own savings to make up for it. He even had to borrow some universe crystals from his master's companions. As long as the assassination plan succeeds, everything will be worth it. If master is happy, he might even give me a great reward. Qiangan Shui thought to himself. Time continued to flow. 2 hours, 4 hours. The sky gradually darkened. Qiangan Shui drank with Nianjiu, and neither of them spoke much. Nianjiu looked outside. We're out. Qiangan Shui's body trembled as he stared outside the window at the group of people coming out of the misty cloud pavilion. Among them was a handsome youth in white, who was being surrounded. What a handsome little fellow. His own strength is not worth mentioning. I can easily crush him to death. Even Marquis Ardent Fire would most likely have prepared many methods to protect him. Unfortunately, he's dead now that I've made a move. Nianjiu stood up and took a step out of the window. He landed on the street outside and walked leisurely, as if he was an ordinary cultivator amongst the many cultivators on the street. Qiangan Shui held his breath nervously. The moment that would decide his fate had arrived. Everyone prepare yourselves. The moment he arrives, we'll act. Qiangan Shui transmitted. 8 dragon beasts pulled that luxurious carriage across the sky. Ying Shanlai, who was incomparably proud as he sat on the carriage with his son, Tian Yiji, the female attendant Yinyu, and the others were standing by the side. The protectors and female attendants were also waiting by the side. The speed of the carriage was fast. My son, this misty cloud pavilion is different, right? Haha, this is also the first time I brought you here. There are still many interesting things that I haven't brought you to try. Ying Shanlai Hu chuckled. In the future, my son can come here by himself. He was a cultivator after all. He should have seen everything. You should experience the beauties and skeletons too. This is also considered cultivating the heart. Sir Laihu, Tianiji muttered from the side. Ying Shanlai, who was slightly startled, he awkwardly answered Tianiji. Elder Tian, I was just saying. The mortal dust refinement of the heart is not wrong, right? At this moment, Ying Shanlai, who felt so much regret that he wanted to slap his own mouth, because the words he said would most likely be reported up to Grandpa Marquis by Tianiji. Dongbo Shuang merely listened. He remained indifferent. Suddenly, he glanced at a distant restaurant with slight astonishment. Ever since he comprehended the domain technique from the profound mysteries within the spear body, his control of the void had reached an amazing level. Even during ordinary times, he could naturally sense anything within a certain region. And he discovered a familiar person. Qiangan Shui. Dongbo Shuang saw a plump male seated by the window of that restaurant. That plump male was currently looking at him. When Dongbo Shuang looked over, Qiangan Shui even revealed a smile. Humph. Dongbo Shuang no longer cared about him. Because of the matter regarding the female attendant Yinyu, he had ordered people to investigate. He knew that this Qiangan Shui was someone who did some shady business. There was no need to care about such a character. Suddenly, Wang. The surrounding void suddenly trembled. The vast region was being suppressed. Not good. Tianyi was greatly alarmed. He immediately transmitted. Be careful, the surrounding void is being suppressed. We can't teleport. What? Ying Shanlai who panicked at that moment. Xiao. Xiao. Two continuous streams of light shot out from the crowd of cultivators on the street below. Tianyi and the 9 personal guards had formed silver armor on their bodies with great proficiency. The armor shone, forming a silver sphere that enveloped the carriage where Dongbo Shuang was at. Tianyi and the others rapidly defended against the 2 streams of light and the diffusing poisonous fog. Break. The void trembled. Assassination? They actually dared to assassinate my son? Ying Shanlai who paled. He was slightly panicking. Even though he had protectors, they were far weaker than the protectors of Dongbo Shuang. Father, there is an assassin trying to assassinate Snow Eagle. Ying Shanlai who rarely transmitted a message to Marquis Ardent Fire. Usually, he would not dare to disturb Marquis Ardent Fire. Nonetheless, Marquis Ardent Fire had already received the transmission from Tianyi. Even though Marquis Ardent Fire was furious, the Marquisdom was very far from this place. Even if he could teleport, there was a limit to how far he could teleport, and it would take the time taken to brew a cup of tea to rush over. Even if he rushed over, teleportation would be suppressed in the surroundings. He had to fly over, and it would be hard for him to save his son. How dare you? A furious roar reverberated in the world. World energy surged. Boundless world energy was madly condensing. It gradually condensed into a figure. It was none other than the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire. But because it was condensed from the world energy, it required some time. Marquis Ardent Fire, there is no need for you to take out an incarnation. Following that, a laughter reverberated in the world. A thin young man flew into the sky and clashed against the enormous silvery white light sphere, formed by Tianyi and the 9 personal protectors. At the moment of impact, the thin young man split into 6. A total of 6 thin young men erupted with a frightening aura. Every single one of them was not any weaker than the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire. Almost instantaneously, the combat formation formed by Tianyi and the others was shattered. Prince, be careful. Tianyi was anxious. All right. Not far away, the plump male Qiangan Shui, who was watching the battle from the restaurant, could not help but clench his fists. His fingertips pierced into his flesh. His emotions surged. He is indeed old devil Nian. Chapter 1030. It's Nianjiu. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire, who was currently condensing, felt his heart trembling when he saw that. He could not help but grit his teeth. Who is so daring to become enemies with my Ying Shan clan? Daring to assassinate the talented Snow Eagle Prince was akin to slapping the face of the Ying Shan clan. The Ying Shan clan would definitely not let this matter rest. Under normal circumstances, not many superpowers would be so foolish. But now, an assassination had happened, and there was even this devil Nianjiu. Nianjiu was originally a 9-headed devil snake born and bred within the Black Devil Great Lake. Because of the ancient cultivation technique, he had the avatar talent, allowing him to form a total of 9 avatars. As long as one avatar survived, the other 8 avatars would be able to cultivate back after dying. Hence, relying on this avatar talent, Nianjiu would frequently become an assassin. After all, there were not many experts who would risk their lives to assassinate others. They were either death warriors or experts like Nianjiu who had unique techniques. Protect the prince. The 2 black stream cloud wolves immediately transformed into a human form. Furthermore, 98 black armored soldiers appeared around them. These two black stream cloud wolves transformed into a human form. One of them was still wearing black armor, and the other had a dark golden armor. There were 100 of them, and they immediately formed a huge combat formation. Hung long long, the surrounding black clouds revolved around the carriage at the center, and the 100 soldiers were scattered within the black clouds. All of their armor shone brightly, and their strength was completely linked as one. You actually dared to assassinate Snow Eagle Prince. Such guts. The leading dark golden armored captain revealed a sharp claw weapon with both hands. He roared out furiously, and his voice reverberated in the world. Ardent Fire Army Hidden Guards? Haha! Who would have thought that one of the Ardent Fire Army's 3 secret guard teams would actually be protecting this little brat? The 6 skinny youths laughed heartily as they charged forward. Let me see how powerful you all are. Kill! The dark golden armored captain roared out. The rolling black clouds vaguely turned into an enormous 4-hooved mutated beast. The dark golden armored captain was like the claws of the 4-hooved mutated beast. Every single attack he made was incredibly violent. What? There is actually a team of dark guards from the Ardent Fire Army protecting that Yingshan Snow Eagle? Qiangan Shui, who was watching the battle from a restaurant far away, paled in anger. Isn't he being too biased? How could he let those Shadow Guard captains wait in the heavenly abode? This was the worst possible situation. A team of hidden guards. The leader of the secret guards was at God Yuan Palace level 5, while the other members were at the Unity Realm. Fusing with the entire combat formation, it could unleash a strength at the God Yuan Palace 7th level. It could even fight against some of the weaker primal chaos giants. Yingshan Lai, who felt his legs turning soft. He even consoled Dongbo Shuang by the side. My son, rest assured. They can't harm you. Maid Yan Yu also clenched her fists, ready to risk her life for her young master at any moment. In reality, they were only true gods. In a battle of this level, they were completely useless. In fact, regardless of whether it was the assassin Old Devil Nianjiao, the hidden guard team led by the Black Stream Cloud Wolf captain, Tianiji, Marquis Ardent Fire, or even that devil master who was constantly monitoring the situation of the assassination, all of them were extremely concerned. They felt their hearts tightening over the current situation. There was only one person. He might seem nervous on the surface, but in reality, he was extremely calm. That was none other than Dongbo Shuang. Assassination. Dongbo Shuang sat on the carriage watching. Oh, this assassin could instantly form 6 avatars. But he is merely at the Unity Realm. Yet he could form avatars. It shouldn't be an avatar technique of the Void lineage. Instead, it should be an ancient cultivation. But he is quite formidable. This assassin seems to have a God Yuan Palace 6th level strength by himself. 6 avatars even have a combined technique, allowing them to unleash a strength at the God Yuan Palace 7th level. Woo! So one of my 2 black stream cloud wolves is the leader of the hidden guards, and the other is an ordinary hidden guard. And the other 98 hidden guards have always been waiting for orders within the Eden treasure? Marquis Ardent Fire really regards me highly. Dongbo Shuang sighed inwardly. I have always thought that Elder Tian and the others are protectors. Who would have thought that one is in the light, and the other in the dark? Elder Tian is leading 9 personal guards, and they only have a God Yuan Palace 6th level strength. An entire team of hidden guards is even stronger. One in the light and one in the dark. Dongbo Shuang continued watching the battle between the team of hidden guards and Devil Nianjiao. Both parties were frantically assassinating each other, and Old Devil Nianjiao could not break through for a short while. The cultivation techniques in the Realm Heart Great Land are indeed more profound. This combat formation is much more profound than that in the Primal Chaos Void. In the Primal Chaos Void, a 5th level Star Pagoda Unity expert working together with 99 other Unity experts, it was impossible for them to unleash the strength of the 7th floor of Star Tower. But the Realm Heart Great Land could do it. These combat formation techniques in the Realm Heart Great Land were simply more profound than the innate combined technique of the Destruction Devils. Qiangan Shui, Who would have thought that there is an entire team of hidden guards protecting you at all times? I can't break through it. This mission will most likely fail. Nianzhou transmitted to Qiangan Shui. No. Qiangan Shui's eyes turned red. He mobilized his subordinates to arrange for death warriors. But in reality, he did not care about the price to find old devil Nianzhou and invite him to act. This was his most important trump card. Who would have thought that old devil Nianzhou could not break through even after unleashing his God Yuan Palace 7th level strength? This old devil Nianzhou is too cowardly. I've heard that he has 9 avatars. Yet he would only use 6 avatars every time he assassinates someone. I wonder where the other 3 avatars are hiding at. Qiangan Shui's eyes were filled with madness. I can't care anymore. If I fail, I'll die. I'll risk it. Even though Qiangan Shui had placed most of his hopes on the powerful old devil Nianzhou, he would still die if he failed. He had prepared another killing move, which he spent more than 2 million years before he finally found a primal chaos giant to help him refine the venom. For the sake of a single portion of venom, he spent 6 million cosmos crystals. One had to know that some of the most ordinary secret treasures were only worth 10 million cosmos crystals. Those who came into contact with these cosmos crystals would almost certainly die. As long as they were at the Unity Realm, few could defend against it. Old devil Nianzhou, it might affect you, but since you have an avatar, it's fine. Qiangan Shui took out a black flute and lightly blew it. Wang. An unseen sound ripple immediately spread in the direction of Dongbo Shuang. This sound ripple was a strange pale green in color. The color of this venom could be seen with the naked eye. No choice, it had to be sufficiently powerful and undetectable. The amount of cosmos crystals he prepared was not enough. What? The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire had just condensed. He was currently working together with the hidden guards to deal against old devil Nianzhou. When he saw the pale green sound ripple coming over, his expression could not help but change. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire did not have any treasures or weapons. It merely had a God Yuan Palace 6th level strength, and could barely be compared to an avatar of old devil Nianzhou. It could not affect the overall situation at all. Venom. Old devil Nianzhou revealed a joyous look when he saw this. Not good. The hidden guards felt their hearts jolting. They could feel a great terror coming from this pale green sound ripple venom. If they were to come into contact with this venom, they would most likely die. Hong poop, the surroundings boomed. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire and the hidden guards were diverting their attention to attack that venom. Nonetheless, they could not isolate the venom at all. The venom continued spreading over. After all, it was a venom worth 6 million cosmos crystals. What should we do? The speed of the sound ripple venom was too fast, and it could not be teleported. Unless they were to escape and ignore the prince? Ha ha ha. Old devil Nianzhou wantonly attacked the hidden guards, yet he was laughing out loud. In his opinion, without the obstruction of this hidden guard, that Snow Eagle Prince was incomparably weak. It was too easy to kill him. What should we do? What should we do? The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire was incredibly anxious. He had already transmitted a message to Old Mother Shan, yet Old Mother Shan could not rush over in a short period. She had to seek the help of a primal chaos giant who specialized in ultra-long distance teleportation. All sorts of matters would require time. And in the blink of an eye, a battle at this level had occurred hundreds to thousands of times. Do not spare any effort to obstruct the enemy. Try to delay for as long as possible. As time goes on, there will be hope. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire transmitted to the hidden guards. Yes, of all the hidden guards, some were willing, and some were unwilling, yet they still acknowledged the order. They did not dare to disobey the orders of Grandpa Marquis. They had to use their lives to fight, to resist against this strange venom, and delay, for as long as they could. On the carriage, Ying Shan Lai Hu and the female attendant Yin Yu were in a daze. They did not understand what was happening on the battlefield. They only knew that the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire was fighting with all the hidden guards. The hidden guards had all gone mad, and they felt a kind of sorrow. Dongbo Shuang was the only one who was calm. He looked to the distance at Qiangan Shui, who was blowing the black flute. This venom is slightly interesting. It seems powerful, and ordinary attacks can't scatter it. Dongbo Shuang thought. A spear appeared in his hand. It was that secret treasure weapon. Following that, an unseen ripple spread out. This ripple was very subtle, and it permeated everywhere. Go. The space where the pale green sound ripple venom was at was distorted. It was clearly flying in the direction of Dongbo Shuang. Yet in the blink of an eye, it arrived by the side of Qiangan Shui. What? Qiangan Shui looked at the pale green venom in front of him with terror. This venom did not differentiate between friend and foe. He controlled the flute to control its direction. Who? Under the influence of the venom, Qiangan Shui's body was corroded, turning into a puddle of green water. He died on the spot. Even though the venom permeated the surroundings, it was fortunate that there was no one around. Those cultivators, including the guests and attendants, had already escaped far away. After all, a battle of this level was something that cultivators would do their best to distance themselves from. Even if they were 50,000 kilometers away, they would not feel safe. At a distant location on the wide street, a black-robed man was watching from afar. He was none other than the incarnation of that devil master. He relied on a treasure to conceal his aura, and lived in seclusion in the Ardent Fire City. Given his hatred towards Marquis Ardent Fire, his incarnation was here to find an opportunity to deal against Marquis Ardent Fire. This Qiangan Shui is still quite useful. He actually prepared such a venom. The edge of the black-robed man's lips curled upwards. Following that, his expression changed. That pale green sound ripple venom actually twisted strangely towards the side of Qiangan Shui, causing him to die. The black-robed man even felt that the space seemed normal. There is actually an expert protecting that Snow Eagle Prince? Isn't the Ying Shan clan putting in too much effort for the sake of protecting him? The black-robed man could not help but grit his teeth. Chapter 1031. The black-robed devil master gritted his teeth. His eyes were cold. Seeing how anxious the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire was, Marquis Ardent Fire would definitely go mad if he succeeded in killing that little brat Yingshan Snow Eagle. The expert protecting Yingshan Snow Eagle in the dark was able to crack the venom without anyone noticing. Is he really powerful? Or does he just happen to be able to restrain the venom? Many thoughts flashed across the mind of the black-robed demon master. I'd better stick to the original plan. Ada act. Yes. The black-robed devil master silently gave the order. He coldly looked to the distance. Even though he asked Qiangan Shui to assassinate Yingshan, he had never placed all his hopes on Qiangan Shui. Instead, he prepared his final trump card. Let me see who exactly is protecting him in the dark. The black-robed devil master sneered inwardly. In the entire Ardent Fire City, even Marquis Ardent Fire's true body could not make it in time. Who could obstruct my magic servant? And on the carriage in midair, Yingshan Lai, who panicked to the point his body was trembling. Tian Yiji, who retreated to the side, anxiously transmitted to Dongbo Shuang. Prince, this poison is frightening. If the hidden guards can't resist against it, I'll immediately keep you in my Eden treasure and flee for your life. Hopefully, you can hold on until the experts invited by Old Mother Yingshan arrive. In a while, don't resist. Even though she was transmitting, Tian Yiji was looking to the distance with shock. Not just him. Many hidden guards and protectors present had a kind of resolution. The resolution to fight to the death for their prince. They had people they cared about, and they were not really willing to face death. But since they chose to rely on Marquis Ardent Fire, they rarely met any danger, and enjoyed the help of resources. Hence, when danger came, they had to stand out. Those who dared to escape would definitely not be let off by the Yingshan clan. The surrounding atmosphere was slightly sorrowful and mad. All of them were gritting their teeth as they watched the faint green sound ripple poison flying over from the black flute. Come. Let's risk it. Good daughter. I can no longer accompany you. These hidden guards were fighting with old devil Nianjiu while paying attention to the poison. But the poison suddenly appeared by the side of Qiangan Shui, causing him to die. This. How could this be? Everyone present was overjoyed at having escaped from the brink of death. But at the same time, they were in disbelief. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire was also watching with disbelief at this scene, because the minute spatial distortion controlled by Dongbo Shueing only affected the region where the venomous liquid was located. It did not affect the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire at all. Hence, the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire did not discover where the problem lay. Ha ha ha, my son, there are experts protecting you in the dark. My Ying Shan clan really has many experts. Ying Shan Lai, who felt great joy when he saw this. Yes, there is also a mysterious great expert. Tianyi Ji was also excited. We still have experts. The morale of all the hidden guards and bodyguards present was greatly boosted. Shueing sat there with a look of joy on his face. Such a formidable expert. I wonder who he is. There was no other way. He was only born 5 million years ago. Yet he was able to display the strength of the Divine Yuan Palace level 8? After all, that simple domain-type technique was already at the 8th level. This completely exceeded the scope of a genius. If he were to be exposed, Dongbo Shueing was afraid of attracting the attention of some horrifying old fellows in Realm Heart Great Land. After all, reincarnation was something Dongbo Shueing suspected. He was not the only one who did it. Hence it was better to be cautious. This move of distorting the void was like a street that was originally straight. Dongbo Shueing then warped the street to another street. As the venomous liquid traveled on the street, it naturally followed the warped street and entered the other street. Similar logic. The surrounding void had been controlled by Dongbo Shueing to distort and become chaotic. Moving from this direction would naturally lead him to another direction. It might seem like teleportation, but in reality, it was entirely different. Teleportation relied on the transmission of spatial ripples. And this was a technique that altered the entire spatial structure. This technique was incredibly formidable. Dongbo Shueing had just comprehended it, yet it was already at the primal chaos realm. Of course, it was also because of his deep accumulations. His Tao of Void had reached the primal chaos realm in the laws and profound mysteries system, and his eyesight, which allowed him to rapidly comprehend this move from the spear body of this damaged secret treasure weapon. If it were others, even those void lineage experts who relied on their bloodline to reach the primal chaos realm, would have a hard time comprehending this technique when facing this spear body. Naturally, Dongbo Shueing did not feel proud at all. Instead, he admired the refiner of this spear body. I have merely comprehended the tip of the iceberg. This spear body isn't even a complete secret treasure. Dongbo Shueing thought. I really wonder who the original owner of this spear body is. Saying it was slow, but the mental state of Dongbo Shueing only lasted for an instant. All the surrounding protectors, including the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire, were feeling joyous. Right at this moment, Hong. A pavilion not too far away suddenly exploded. A humanoid life form turned into a stream of light and charged over. Previously, its aura was completely concealed, and no one could sense it. But at this moment its aura was completely unleashed. In an instant, its aura became so strong that it became the strongest existence present. It was even stronger than the 100 hidden guards. It was even stronger than old devil Nianjiao, who executed the combined technique. It had a pair of inverted joints, and a pair of long arms similar to that of a gorilla. Its entire body was covered in scales, and it had a single deep green eye. Nianjiao worked together with the magic servant to kill that snow eagle prince. After this matter is done, I'll hand over the remaining 12 million cosmos crystals. A transmission was transmitted over to old devil Nianjiao. Ha ha ha. Old devil Nianjiao was in great joy. Only now did he know that behind Qiangan Shui was this great devil. Palace Master, you can be rest assured. Old devil Nianjiao's fighting spirit shot to the sky. Being a relatively famous assassin in the Black Devil Great Lake, he naturally recognized this great devil of the Black Devil Great Lake. Even though the gap between their statuses was huge, he had avatar techniques, and was not afraid. Not good. On the other side, the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire had a huge change in expression as he watched that humanoid life form charging over. Magic Servant Chao Qing? The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire recognized him. Hong. Under the berserk state of this magic servant, its frontal charge was beyond that of Old Devil Nianjiao. He and Old Devil Nianjiao worked together, and almost instantly broke through the defensive formation formed by the Dark Guards. The Dark Guards were sent flying in all directions, and were unable to stop them. Be it Old Devil Nianjiao or Demon Servant Chao Qing, they did not pursue the Dark Guards. They only had one goal, young Master Snow Eagle. Demonic Servant Chao Qing? He is truly willing. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire rushed forward. Scram! The magic servant roared out with a claw, causing the void to explode. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire directly shattered apart. At that moment, the eyes of the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire were filled with unwillingness and fury, as well as an apology towards that Yingshan Snow Eagle, who could not resist at all on the carriage. Snow Eagle, it is I, Ardent Fire, who is useless. Marquis Ardent Fire felt his heart aching. Whoosh whoosh. Magic Servant Chao Qing and Old Devil Nianjiao's 6 clones charged over at the same time. Dongbua Shuang sat on the carriage with a spear in his hand. He remained calm and said, Demon Servant? According to the scriptures, this should be the magic servant Chao Qing, right? The refinement of puppets in the realm Heart Great Land was much more profound. Magic servant Chao Qing was a fleshy life-form puppet that was loyal and devoted. Being a puppet, if its master wanted it to die, it would do its best to die. Magic servant Chao Qing was considered one of the lower end amongst the fleshy life-form puppets at the primal chaos realm. Some powerful cosmos gods specialized in refining it and selling it to the outside world. Magic servant Chao Qing had a God Yuan Palace 6th level strength during normal times. If he ignited the energy he accumulated, he could unleash a God Yuan Palace 7th level strength. But every time he unleashed it, his vitality would be greatly damaged. After that, he would have to be fed with rare treasures to recover his strength. Furthermore, he could even self-detonate, increasing his power by several times. Because he was ultimately a magic servant, he was lacking in terms of realm. He specialized more in pure strength. Only when magic servant Chao Qing and Old Devil Nianjiao worked together could they break through the obstruction of the Dark Guards. Prince, you should escape first. I'll block them. Tian Ji and the 9 personal guards behind her had already formed a combat formation. My son, hurry up and escape. I'll risk my life against him. Yingshan Lai, who felt his eyes splitting apart. Dongbua Shuang looked at his father with slight shock. He had never had a good impression of this father. But at this moment, Dongbua Shuang was truly surprised. How could he understand the thoughts of Yingshan Lai who? At this moment, Yingshan Lai who was furious. He was the second son of Marquis Ardent Fire. When Marquis Ardent Fire had him, Marquis Ardent Fire was still weak. He Yingshan Lai who had a weak bloodline. He had once worked hard, yet it was hard to improve. He felt despair. Hence, he immersed himself in enjoyment. Marquis Ardent Fire asked for a marriage for him, and he accepted it with a smile. That wife of his, Chan Yuyen Zhen, had begun arranging subordinates to control the resources under his name. How could he not know? But he accepted it with a smile. He was too lazy to care about these. He enjoyed himself to his heart's content. Even though he had many women, and over 300 children, he did not care about them. Only those children who were strong and talented would be given a slight look. In his heart, he hoped that one of his children could rise and become dazzling. So many years had passed. Even though he, Yingshan Lai, who led a befuddled life outside, he understood that many aristocratic clan disciples looked down on him. Because he was too weak. He was just a true god. If not for him being the son of Marquis Ardent Fire, he would most likely be a commoner. He had always been looked down upon. Finally, there was a day when his son, Yingshan Snow Eagle, was born. The moment he was born, it shocked the entire world. Marquis Ardent Fire, and even old mother Yingshan attached great importance to it. Many people in the entire Ardent Fire city were shocked. From then on, nobody dared to disrespect Yingshan Lai who when they saw him. Yingshan Lai who loved this feeling of being respected. Even though he felt that his son did not like him, and had never given him any cosmos crystals. He did not care. I, Ying Shanlai Hu, have a son called Ying Shan Snow Eagle. I can die, but my son can't. Ying Shanlai Hu seemed mad. Dongbo Shuang sat there, seeing old devil Nian Jiao and magic servant Chao Qing rushing over like streams of light. The gaze of Dongbo Shuang turned cold. Hong, the void in the surrounding 500,000 kilometers suddenly distorted. It was a scene of apocalypse. This distorted void naturally enveloped everyone present, including magic servant Chao Qing and the 6 great avatars of old devil Nian Jiao. Chapter 1032. Magic servant Chao Qing and old devil Nian Jiao joined hands to attack. They used all their strength, because they were wary of the hidden experts. They had seen the scene of venom being lured away, sneaking around. Even if I'm afraid, he won't be that strong. The two of them were not afraid. One was a magic servant, and the other had 6 avatars. What was there to be afraid of? As long as they succeeded in killing Prince Snow Eagle, losing a few avatars was a small matter. Hong, the void in the surrounding 500,000 kilometers suddenly distorted. Magic servant Chao Qing and old devil Nian Jiao sensed their surroundings in shock. The surrounding void was completely chaotic. Previously, they could clearly see Prince Snow Eagle. Now that the void was chaotic, their bodies were being teleported away, and they could no longer see Prince Snow Eagle. Old devil Nian Jiao's 6 avatars were all changing their positions. Naturally, their combined technique was broken. Chi chi chi. Countless cracks appeared on the 6 bodies of old devil Nian Jiao. He widened his eyes in disbelief. I died just like that. Where's the enemy? Where's the enemy? Hua. His 6 bodies were destroyed. Old devil Nian Jiao could not find the enemy even in death. If one were to say that the activation of venom was the subtle control of Dongbo Shui Ying's domain technique, then this was the full explosive power of his domain. Usually he would practice within the Void God Pagoda. This was the first time he used it to kill an enemy. 2 spatial distortions were used on a single body at the same time. One of the spatial distortions wanted to teleport the upper body to the north, while the other wanted to teleport the lower body to the south. The result of using them at the same time was, Poochie, the body would be sliced apart by the distorted void. In that instant, all 6 avatars of old devil Nian Jiao suffered more than 1,000 slashes, and were directly destroyed. At another location, magic servant Chao Qing's body also suffered more than 1,000 slashes. But being a primal chaos realm flesh puppet, his realm was low, but his fleshy body was strong, and his strength was tyrannical. Dongbo Shuang might be at the 8th level, but it was ultimately a domain technique. The distortion of the void was unable to tear apart magic servant Chao Qing's body. Come out! Magic servant Chao Qing let out a frenzied roar. He could not see the enemy. His body is quite strong. Dongbo Shuang, who was sitting on the chariot, placed his spear on his thigh, and lightly tapped the air with his right hand. He was clearly sitting there, far away from magic servant Chao Qing. But this fingertip, clearly, Dongbo Shuang had distorted the void, allowing his finger to connect with Chao Qing's head. Pooh! His fingertip tapped the demonic servant's glabella. Without any defense, he bore the full brunt of the terrifying power of the finger. Demonic servant Chao Qing widened his eyes. Following that, his body silently disintegrated. He disintegrated at the particle level, and turned into nothingness. With the point of his finger, demonic servant Chao Qing dissipated like dust. Dongbo Shuang was still sitting there, seemingly not moving at all. The 10th style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Smoke and dust scattering. Like the secret treasure spear body, one had to comprehend it himself. Dongbo Shuang had to spend a lot of effort to comprehend the God Yuan Palace 7th level domain technique. By relying on the spear body, he was able to reach the 8th level power. But the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles was different. This was an extremely detailed absolute art. Shuang could even comprehend the void bloodline in his body. Hence, he had already grasped the 9th and 10th style of the God Yuan Palace 8th level technique. The 10th style, smoke and dust scattering, was known for its terrifying power. But this technique was too simple, and could be easily broken. The ninth style was comparatively more unpredictable, and its power was slightly weaker. Nevertheless, by relying on the domain, the enemy could not defend against it at all, allowing him to bear the full might of the smoke and dust scattering. The combination of the domain and smoke and dust scattering could be said to be a perfect match. This combined technique could be said to be at the peak of the 8th level. Magic servant Chao Qing's body dissipated under a single strike. What? The surrounding void was chaotic. Explosions could be heard. The dark guards present could feel the chaos in their surroundings. They could even see many pavilions and residences by the side of the street being teleported away. They were now floating in midair. Everything had been settled. All the buildings, mansions, and houses that had been teleported away and floating in the air for 1,000,000 miles around them had all returned to their original positions. Some of the cultivators who were enveloped by the void within the region of 500,000 kilometers had returned to their original positions. Such a formidable expert! Tian Yi and the others excitedly looked around them. They shouted out, "Many thanks, Senior, for saving our clan's prince." "Many thanks, Senior." The female attendant Yin, you also added at this moment. Ying Shanlai, who sat on the carriage. He rubbed his head and let out a breath. He was so frightened that his legs turned soft. He turned to Dongbo Shuang by the side. "My son, rest assured. My Yingshan clan has a deep foundation and must have arranged for a formidable expert to protect you. How could those assassins succeed?" Ying Shanlai, who was weak and had poor eyesight. He did not understand how terrifying the enemy this time was. "Many thanks, Senior, for saving my life." Dongbo Shuang shouted out too. Even though he had pointed out with his finger previously, at that time, he had also distorted the surrounding void. Even if others stared at him, they could only see his body sitting there. They could not see where his finger was, because the void was distorted there. Since he acted, he would naturally not leave behind any flaws. The black-robed devil master, who was watching from afar, saw the distorted void. When the void regained its calmness, old devil Nian Jiao and magic servant Chao Qing had disappeared. 2 experts at the 7th level of the Yuanshan Palace disappeared without a trace in an instant? What kind of strength was that? Even if Marquis Ardent Fire acted, it is impossible for him to be this fast. The expression of the black-robed devil master turned cold. After all, the void was suppressed, and one could not teleport. One had to fly to kill the enemy. Old devil Nianjiao had 6 avatars, and magic servant Chao Qing's body was relatively strong too. The surrounding void is suppressed, and time-space is distorted. Who could kill Nianjiao and magic servant Chao Qing in an instant? Does the Yingshan clan have such an expert? The black-robed devil master pondered for a moment. Only that unfathomable old mother Yingshan from the Yingshan clan could do it. But what identity did old mother Yingshan have? She would definitely be protecting the Yingshan city. The Yingshan city was much bigger and more important than the Ardent Fire city. It was much more important too. Given the distance and the lack of an ultra-long-distance spatial teleportation technique, it was impossible for her to protect Snow Eagle in time. Who is it? Unless it is an expert living in seclusion in the Ardent Fire city? Seeing that the talent of that little Snow Eagle is high, he decided to protect him? The black-robed devil master could only think of this point. Consider him lucky. The black-robed devil master turned around and left. The carriage was still in midair. The 8 dragon beasts felt slightly uneasy. The 100 hidden guards, Tian Yi, the 9 personal guards, the female attendant Yin Yu, and the group of servants and protectors by the side of Yingshan Lai, who were all startled. They could not regain their calmness for a moment. "Prince, previously, I saw many pavilions and houses floating by the horizon." The female attendant Yin Yu was slightly excited. "In the blink of an eye, they have all returned. I wonder which senior it is." Dongbo Shuang sighed. "Truly amazing. This senior might be acquainted with my Yingshan clan for him to help Prince. But Prince should remember this favor." Tianiji chuckled. He envied his prince for being able to form a friendship with that expert. Who? In midair, the incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire condensed once again. Marquis Ardent Fire saw that everything was fine. Seeing that Dongbo Shueying was not injured, he let out a sigh of relief. He immediately asked about what happened previously. Just as they were chatting, "Who?" Two figures appeared out of thin air. One was a green-eyed old man, and the other was old Mothering Shan, old ancestor Marquis Floating Dust. The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire immediately went forward. "I came late." Old Mothering Shan looked at the surrounding situation. She chuckled. "But it is fortunate that nothing happened. How did you all defend against that magic servant Chao Qing?" The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire shook his head. "I do not know either. It should be an expert who is passing by the Ardent Fire City." Old Mothering Shan looked at the sky. The void gradually warped and revealed the scene of the past, though it was soon disrupted. "The assassin has even distorted time-space." Old Mothering Shan turned to the green-eyed old man by the side. "Floating Dust, I'll have to trouble you to investigate." "All right." The green-eyed old man nodded. His eyes shot out a faint green light. One could see the scene of the past appearing in the distant sky. It was showing the entire battle from start to end. It's just that when the void was distorted, everything was in chaos. They could only see some regions that Dongbo Shuang did not deliberately conceal. "What a formidable domain technique," the green-eyed old man exclaimed. "That year 9 devils and magic servant Chao Qing were exterminated in an instant. Magic servant Chao Qing has a God Yuan Palace 7th level strength when he fully erupts. Furthermore, his body is tyrannical. Killing him in an instant is very difficult." "I can't do it," Marquis Ardent Fire said. His combat style was more tyrannical, but the magic servant was not foolish. He knew how to resist and escape. The one who acted should have a strength at the 9th level. Old Mothering Shan chuckled. "What's strange is that he acted to save this brat Snow Eagle. Yet he did not inform this old granny about it. Unless it wasn't because of my face? If it was because of her, he should have informed her. He might be living in seclusion in the Ardent Fire City, or he might just be passing by." Old Mothering Shan shook her head with a smile. "No matter what, this expert does not have any malicious intent. We should still thank him." "Amen." Marquis Ardent Fire nodded. Old Mothering Shan and Marquis Ardent Fire could not think of who it was for a moment. At least, nobody within the Southern Cloud Nation fit the description. Nonetheless, the realm Heart Great Land was vast. There were many nations, and there were even the 6 great ancient nations with many experts. There were even more mysterious experts roaming the realm Heart Great Land. Naturally, there were many who were not familiar with Old Mothering Shan. "Little fellow Snow Eagle." Old Mothering Shan looked at Dongbo Shuang. "For him to be able to save you, it means that he has a heart that cherishes talent. Perhaps you might meet him in the future, and you must befriend him. After all, according to their judgment, he was at least a conferred king. In the entire Southern Cloud Nation, there were a total of 21 conferred kings. None of them had such a terrifying technique that could distort the void." "Yes," Dongbo Shuang nodded. "For you not to panic, your heart realm is quite good." The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire praised Dongbo Shuang. As Old Mothering Shan spoke, she was also pondering over who the mysterious expert was. Firstly, she excluded the possibility of him being from the Southern Cloud Nation. It should be an expert outside the nation. She was relatively familiar with the entire Black Devil 4 nations. She knew some devils from the Black Devil Great Lake too, and there were only 2 primal chaos existences that could achieve this. As for the wider world outside the Black Devil 4 nations, there were many more experts. That can be considered an opportunity. Snow Eagle has the talent in the void, and this expert specializes in the void too. Since he acted, who knows if we might be fated to meet in the future. Old Mothering Shan chuckled. Following that, her expression turned cold. She was pondering over who arranged this assassin. Who was it that wanted the life of the disciple with the greatest talent in the history of her Yingshan clan? Yingshan Snow Eagle. Let me say this beforehand. I will take a day off tomorrow. The day after tomorrow will resume updating, ***. Chapter 1033. Ardent fire. Old Mother Ying Shan's voice remained calm. You are too lax with your ardent fire city, allowing so many experts to sneak in. It is I who is useless. Marquis Ardent Fire lowered his head. There is also a magic servant Chao Qing. Old Mother Ying Shan nonchalantly said. To be able to send the devil Nian Jiao, and even send a magic servant as an assassin. The identity of the mastermind behind this should be extraordinary. Marquis Ardent Fire obediently nodded. He was after all a grandpa marquis, yet he was not willing to buy a magic servant. Naturally, he could still afford the bottom-tier primal chaos realm magic servant Chao Qing. But since he had been guarding the Ardent Fire City for a long period, he naturally did not feel the need to buy one. It was too extravagant and wasteful. Investigate. Old Mother Ying Shan coldly said. Investigate to the end. Fuchen, you should accompany me in this Ardent Fire City for 3 days, and help me investigate. The subordinates of Ardent Fire are still too weak in terms of searching for traces. All right. The green-eyed old man chuckled. Old Mother Ying Shan was one of the ancient conferred kings in the Southern Cloud Nation. Her strength was also ranked at the forefront. Marquis Fuchen had long received a favor from Old Mother Ying Shan when he was weak. After that, the relationship between the two naturally became closer. Dongbua Shueying and Ying Shanlai, who had already stood up on the carriage. Little fellow Snow Eagle. Old Mother Ying Shan giggled as she looked at Dongbua Shueying. You are holding a spear. Why, do you want to fight personally? Old ancestor. Dongbua Shueying abruptly released his aura. He confidently said, Currently, I have reached the God Yuan Palace 5th level strength. I believe I can still fight against the enemy. Naturally, I am not willing to let myself be captured. The eyes of Old Mother Ying Shan brightened at that moment. The Southern Cloud Sacred Body has reached the 5th level? The incarnation of Marquis Ardent Fire was startled too. How rare. It has just been 5 million years, right? Little Prince Snow Eagle has reached the God Yuan Palace 5th level strength. Marquis Floating Dust sighed. You can rely on your bloodline to reach the Unity Realm, but cultivating the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles requires comprehension abilities. Reaching this realm in just 5 million years, his talent is truly amazing. Even though Old Mother Ying Shan was happy, she still said, You should stop praising this little fellow. His bloodline is extraordinary, and coincidentally, it originates from the void bloodline of the king. It is easy for him to comprehend the bloodline transformations and cultivate the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. It is not bad for him to reach this stage in 5 million years. She was afraid that Dongbua Shueying would be too arrogant. After all, he was the one with the greatest talent in the history of the Ying Shan clan. If he were too arrogant and became arrogant, he would not be devout and serious in his cultivation. That would greatly affect his future. Snow Eagle Little Doll. Old Mother Ying Shan chuckled. Even though you have a God Yuan Palace 5th level strength, both that magic servant and old devil Nianjiao have a God Yuan Palace 7th level strength. If they want to kill you, they can really kill you with a flip of their hand. I know, but it is impossible for me to resist and allow them to kill me. Dongbua Shueying added, Old ancestor, I have reached this level of strength, and should be able to go to the capital, right? Go to the main religion of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion, and learn the complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Amen. Old Mother Ying Shan and Marquis Ardent Fire could not help but nod. You have to go, and do it as soon as possible, Marquis Ardent Fire added. There are many experts in the main religion of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. It will be more beneficial to you if you cultivate there. Old Mother Ying Shan said. It is best for you to cultivate there for a few more days. With your talent, I'll find some old friends, and let you become an inner disciple of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. Many thanks, old ancestor, Dongbua Shueying said. You should go back and rest first. I'll arrange for you to set off after a few days. Old Mother Ying Shan said. Waving her hand, she enveloped Dongbua Shueying, Ying Shanlai Hu Tiani Ji, and the group of protectors and servants. Hung. She forcefully teleported Dongbua Shueying and the others to the Ardent Fire Marquisdom. Clearly, with Old Mother Ying Shan's strength, It was not hard for her to teleport through a short distance without the void suppression. Of course, she could not achieve ultra-long distance teleportation. Humph. The expression of old Mother Yingshan sunk. I do want to see who is the one behind this. The eyes of Marquis Ardent Fire flashed with cold light. Clearly, he was infuriated this time. The entire Ardent Fire city was in a state of panic. Hua hua hua. The entire Ardent Fire army was practically moving out. Many teams of Ardent Fire army were flying above the Ardent Fire city. They were investigating various places. Old Mother Yingshan merely left behind an incarnation here. She brought Marquis Floating Dust to oversee the place. If she discovered any suspicious points, she would personally investigate with Marquis Floating Dust. With her around, even the other giant of the Ardent Fire city, Chun Yue, who controlled the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace, had ordered his subordinates to temporarily return to their respective locations. Speak. The plump Chun Yufeng knelt there. His face was filled with sweat. Marquis Ardent Fire sat there with a group of soldiers around him. Marquis Ardent Fire coldly stared at Chun Yufeng. Yes, I've said everything. But Grandpa Marquis, this is unrelated to me. Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng shouted out. He had sought help from the clan, yet the clan merely told him to fully cooperate with the Yingshan clan. Old Mother Yingshan was furious. Even though the Chun Yu clan was one of the 3 great emperor-ranked clans, it was impossible for them to infuriate Old Mother Yingshan for the sake of a little fellow. Being a conferred king, Old Mother Yingshan could casually kill Chun Yufeng without any punishment. Many chains of gray businesses were pulled out. Many aristocratic clan disciples were captured and interrogated. These aristocratic clan disciples no longer had a future in terms of strength. Naturally, they wanted to earn more resources. Naturally, some of them interfered in some gray businesses. Now they were implicated by that Qiangan Shui, suffering from the calamity. Qiangan Shui, it is fortunate that you died early. Otherwise, I'll definitely not forgive you. Chun Yufeng gritted his teeth as he was locked in the prison. He had suffered from many interrogations and punishments during the short 2 days. He had even been sent to the Yingshan clan ancestral family to be interrogated in the illusory realm. Even so, Marquis Ardent Fire still locked him up. He, Chun Yufeng, was still from the Chun Yu clan. His status was relatively high, yet he barely survived. This time, the Yingshan clan investigated the entire Ardent Fire city. There were even aristocratic clan disciples who helped contact old devil Nianjiu. Yet all of them were killed. Many of those who did gray businesses with low statuses were either imprisoned or killed, as long as they were suspected to be subordinates of Qiangan Shui. During these 3 days, all aristocratic clan disciples in the entire Ardent Fire city became much more low profile. They could act wantonly when facing ordinary commoners, but killing commoners would result in them being fined. But Old Mother Yingshan did not receive any punishment for killing them. Naturally, Old Mother Yingshan would not kill indiscriminately. There were some hidden rules between the aristocratic clans in the Southern Cloud Nation. Within the Ardent Fire City, within an ordinary underground cultivation room, within an ordinary residence, the black-robed Devil Master was currently seated cross-legged here. With how vast the Ardent Fire City was, there were many cultivators. It was impossible for him to investigate every single household, and the incarnation of the Devil Master had been hiding within the Ardent Fire City. He had never interacted with his subordinates. Anxious? Is he mad? Just a single assassination, and he did not succeed. Why is he so furious? The edge of the black-robed Devil Master's lips curled upwards. Marquis Ardent Fire, you sure can't keep your composure. He closed his eyes. He sat cross-legged and fell into a deep sleep. To him, this was merely a greeting to Marquis Ardent Fire. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.